going on? Welcome to another episode of Music Row Hideout, the show where we hang out with artists, musicians, and entertainers in Waylon Jennings' old basement studio. My name is Ryan, and on a recent episode of Music Row Hideout, we talked about how Jury had predicted his death. For the past 10 years, he predicted he would die on March 12th of this very year. And today I'm here to let you know that Jury has survived his death date, and he's here with us now.
Here we go! Oh, we need an applause button. That's all I got. That's all I got.
Cool. Way to start really bad.
God, should have just died.
No, for the listeners of the show, we do have a guest who we're going to introduce in like 5 seconds. But let's introduce the guest because he should be a part of this conversation. You do that. I did your part. You got to do my part.
Oh, I've never introduced a guest before.
Isn't it? It's exciting, right?
All right,
you don't know what you're going to say, but
I don't know what I'm
going to
say.
Sound good, so try.
Yeah. Well, here we have Timothy Edward, not words, right? Because that would be weird. It'd be weird to have an S at the end.
I think so.
Yeah, it'd be super fucking weird.
Yeah.
Unless it was like a last name.
Carpenter. Which is a lot of names.
That's a lot of names.
That's a lot of names. I respect it though. I got many names, but he does music. I don't know. I've never introduced a guest. Why do you make me do this? He does some music. It's cool. Listen to it on
Fun
Spotify.
fact. I never put this together till just now. My middle name's Edward too.
No way.
Yeah. Except.
It's Edwards. With
So-
an
So,
S.
but it's not.
It's not.
But legally
it
it is.
Legally it is.
So
But you
I
go-
was
So it is.
my
Okay.
whole life I've been told I was Ryan Edward Poole, and then a few years back, I looked at my birth certificate and it said Edwards,
Wow.
and so I think my driver's license said Edwards.
Did your whole psyche just
too.
like?
Yeah, and I talked to my mom and dad. And I'm like, "Is it Edwards? Did I just never hear that you were saying an S?" And they were like, "No, it's Edward." And I'm like, "Well, the doctor wrote Edwards."
So which
So-
is it?
Yeah, depends how you think
yes.
about reality.
Yeah. It's a simulation. I think.
Probably true.
Probably.
I mean, like statistically likely,
yes.
right?
I think.
Because if it's not now, it's a good chance it will be in the future.
Maybe there was like a different reality where you did die on the 12th.
Oh my!
Glad we're not in that one, though.
multiverse.
Yeah.
And do you want to explain?
Oh, the March 12th.
Yeah, so our guest has any
Yeah,
idea
it was
how
like
we're talking about?
10 or so years ago. I was having a conversation with some friends. I don't remember what it was about, but somewhere along the lines, someone said the sentence, "Well, you never know when you're gonna die," and I said, "Maybe you don't. I do." March 12th, 2023.
Of course.
Granted, this is like 2012 or 2010 or something like that.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, it's so far away. And they were like, "Don't say that." Oh, they freaked out. And I just eat that shit up. Just nom, nom, nom. And I love it. Now I've repeated that for 10 years.
Did you ever have a point in which you were like, "Oh shit,
Yeah, a little bit. On March 11th.
I'm manifesting this"?
On March 11th, I was like, I should stay home tomorrow. And I didn't stay home. I had to pick up my wife at the airport like 8 a.m. And I was like, this is how I die at the airport.
Yeah.
Going to the airport at 8 in the morning. But no, I survived. But I've been bringing it up. I got a lot of texts.
Everybody's checking in.
Yeah.
Are you good?
People remembered. I was like, how do you remember this?
I think if one of my friends said, "Yeah, 10 years from now on this day," I'd probably put that in a calendar. Just to, hey,
just in case.
checking on you.
Make sure everything's cool.
On his death day,
Yeah.
I was just getting back from a little West Coast tour.
Okay.
And I went straight to his house afterwards because he wasn't replying to my text.
You're like,
So I went to his house and I knocked on the door and no reply. Or I knocked and I used the ring. And I was like, if he doesn't answer, I'm
Breaking in.
gonna enter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a code. So I was like, I'm gonna go into their house and I'm gonna check because maybe he's having like a heart attack and like he just predicted 10 years ago. Like maybe that's the thing that saves him, and that's like the cool story. For
That
the rest
would
of
be
his
wild.
life,
I mean, that'd be a way to go.
yeah.
It would be.
I mean, of all the ways to go, that would be
On the day
kinda
I
epic.
predicted. As long as it wasn't like suicide. Like then it would be like,
Sure,
then
yeah,
everyone would
yeah,
feel
yeah,
real
yeah,
bad
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
yes.
It's like a
of course.
plane hit my house or something. Like
Yeah.
that would be amazing.
Just completely crazy series of events leading up to your prediction being true.
Yeah.
But anyway, Timothy Edward Carpenter is a musician. Where are you from
Ohio.
originally?
Yeah, Cincinnati, Ohio.
You looked
Come
Did you look
on.
it up?
It's in the title of a song.
I didn't hear it in your intro.
Oh, you're right.
Ah, that's
That
true.
could have been something I could have said in the intro.
That's a lie. I was born in Indianapolis, technically, but
okay.
I don't claim it because I only lived there for like 6 months or something like
So,
that.
so our guest
Before
last
your
week was
memory.
Abby.
Yes.
Abby Holiday,
Mhm.
and she has a song about Ohio. She's from Ohio.
Yeah.
And you guys have a song together.
We do.
So, did you guys know each other in Ohio?
We did. Yeah, we like kind of grew up. Our parents were like family friends. I think they really weren't like close, but they had a lot of similar friends. So, and I think knew a lot of those same people from various churches in the same area. And so I always knew who they were. I went to high school with her cousin, and we always like. I think at one point, like the people then that I would refer to as my cousins, they aren't actually my cousins, but they're like my parents' college roommates' kids that we just grew up calling cousins are like really close friends with the holidays. And so that's how I knew about Abby, was really through my friend Elise growing up, was like, oh, that's your friend Abby. And then it wasn't until, I don't know, like maybe 2 years ago that I heard a couple songs she had written that Luke, her brother, had shot on video, just like an unplugged thing. And I was like, oh my God, she's so good. I would love to try to write with her or just like talk music. And then we started connecting over music, and here we are.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, did your parents meet on a plane too?
No. My parents met, I believe, in like a campus ministry, like a campus crusade kind of thing.
Oh, really?
At college. Yeah. I'm almost positive.
I remember
on
the old
that.
campus crusade.
Yeah, the old crusade. That's where they met. Doing the Lord's work. Yep. Yeah, but that was in, they went to Ball State in Muncie, and that's why I was from Indianapolis, but quickly they moved back to Ohio.
So how long you been out here?
I've been in Nashville for 3 years. My wife and I lived in Chattanooga for 6 years before that.
Really? Chattanooga?
Yeah.
I've got questions.
Okay, I might have answers.
So I went to Chattanooga a few weeks ago.
Okay.
I've been a couple times.
Me too. Maybe we were there at the same time.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's like March 17th or February 17th, or something.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Holy shit.
Oh, wow.
Chattanooga bros up in here.
I know.
Well, we went to Chattanooga because me and my wife are saving up for a house.
Okay.
And we were like, Nashville's hella expensive. Where else is cool?
Yeah.
We've been checking out other places too.
Chattanooga's cool.
Chattanooga is cool.
It's like a kind of a sleeper city, you know, like the best kept secret in Tennessee, I
But
think.
if you go like 7 minutes outside the city, it's all of a sudden not cool anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
It falls into decrepitness really fast.
That's true, but that's why it's cheap.
That is why it's cheap. You're not wrong.
The charm of Chattanooga isn't so much the city. I mean, I do like the city, but I think it's the like landscape. I mean, you get this beautiful river with like larger mountains than we're seeing here.
Oh yeah.
Lots of hiking, lots of kayaking. You know, a lot of outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
You're like maybe 45 to 50 minutes from like Nantahala area in like North Carolina, which is awesome. Cherokee National
Oh
Forest.
really? Is that
is all-
close?
Yeah, because it's like right on the corner of southeast.
Oh right.
Tennessee.
You can see all seven
Yeah.
states from
exactly. Yeah, Lookout Mountain kind of thing. I mean,
Yeah.
Lookout Mountain's actually pretty cool. There's
It
some
is
really nice
rad.
houses up there.
And that
yeah.
gnome city you walk through.
Yeah, the whole like
Gross.
fairyland kind of a thing.
I didn't
that's up there
know
too.
about that until we went. Like
Yeah.
this was like a long time ago, like
Yeah, we
2012,
went together.
like a
We're
decade
like,
ago.
What are these gnomes?
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
not like, oh, what a
Crazy.
cool thing.
Sea
And then
Rock City is
it got-
everywhere. It's almost kind of
Mhm.
yeah. It's the lore of the city, if you
The
will.
lore.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I do like Chattanooga. I liked it a lot. My biggest problem with it was when you leave the city, there's just nothing all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
that's true.
But they
But
call
you're
it the
close
scenic
to stuff.
city.
And you
for
can
a
get to
reason.
Atlanta quickly. You can get to Asheville quickly. You can get to Nashville quickly. Like it's almost better than being here because like I do like Nashville a lot. But in terms of like surrounding cities that are great to go to,
Oh.
I don't know. I guess there's cool cities. Like you got St. Louis, you have Memphis. Not to
Yeah.
hate on those cities, but I don't
Yeah.
go there very much.
And they're pretty far. Like Memphis is a solid, you
Yeah,
know,
like 3 hours or whatever. Yeah,
3
exactly.
and a half maybe. If you
you
have
got
some
Louisville.
traffic.
You know, that's kind of
Yeah, that's
not to
Kentucky.
hate on Louisville, but it's
No,
fine.
Kentucky's fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah,
That's where they make the baseball
In
bats, right?
Louisville?
I think so. The Sluggers.
Yeah. The what are they called? The
Sluggers. I think.
Louisville Sluggers, I
Yeah.
believe. Louisville.
Yeah, I think if you go there and say Louisville, you get
Yeah, they
kicked
get
out,
real
though.
mad.
Yeah.
But we did have a
Oh.
guest on the show once from there, and he said Louisville, and I
Oh.
felt
Really?
so vindicated. Yeah, PM.
Oh yeah.
So who's to say what's right about that? I don't know.
Me, I'm to say what's right.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's Louisville.
This is a man who escaped death.
Oh, that's right. True. Basically God at this point.
Wow.
I've been thinking recently. I'm just like, for many years you've thought your life ended on last week, and now it just continues. It's like a blank slate. Like who knows what you'll write?
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah,
There's no rules to me.
you're like 12 days old or something like that at this point. Like,
Yeah. That's why
Oh.
my wife's a little bit of a creep there.
yikes.
Speaking of creepy wives, no, just kidding.
What? I was like, where are we going with this?
Oh, I got lucky on that
you
one.
have Gabby's gift.
Oh, did she?
Gabby has
Did
the gift of touching a button, and
It
it
was
makes
always
sense in the
appropriate.
moment.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know what? I'm just feeling it. It's like there's
Yeah.
something in the room that's
Do that.
telling me. Okay.
Keep doing that.
Okay, sweet.
We like to play a song on this show. to show people what you sound like. So,
Sweet.
and that's usually what you say.
Yeah.
Whoa, everything's upside down now.
Oh, this is the Upside Down.
Yeah, we're in the upside down.
Is this the newest season of Stranger Things?
It is season. I don't even know what we're on now.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
5, 6.
Yeah.
What
4.
Stranger Things character would you be?
Dustin.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
and you,
I don't know.
dude, I'm feeling Steve.
Maybe. Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah, I got Steve.
Some
I can
Steve
see the
energy?
Steve vibes.
Yeah.
Is it the
like,
hair? Maybe.
Season 2 and beyond when he's not an asshole.
Sweet.
Season 1 he was an asshole.
I'll be Steve.
Yeah.
It's like that or a Demogorgon probably, but I'll go with Steve.
I mean, you could pick somebody else if somebody else in your heart.
I mean, Joyce. She's kind of awesome.
Joyce,
Yeah, she's pretty
I'm-
rad.
So if I could be like Joyce and Steve, like the maternal and the like.
do you have kids?
I have cats. Does that
Cats.
count?
It does
I don't
not.
know. If your cat was on the upside down, would you do what Joyce did for Mikey?
One of them. I'm not there with the second one yet. She's kind of terrible, but
Yeah.
but Hank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go to the ends of the earth for Hank.
Do you just have like? Are they just like generic cats, or are they like a specific kind of cat? Do you have any idea?
I mean, they're like Hank is a tabby cat.
Oh, okay.
That's the orange one, right? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I only know like 3 breeds of cats
Yeah.
though, so I probably
He's
wouldn't
like
know anyway.
an orange tabby, and then
Okay.
June is calico, like a
Okay.
kind of a black, white, and speckled orange.
My wife really wants a cat, but I'm allergic.
I kind of am too, but I take
Yeah.
allergy pill.
See, I'm slightly allergic to dogs, and we have a dog.
Yeah, so
and
you
I
can
take
make it
so I
work.
take allergy.
Yeah.
But I'm like real allergic to cats, and also I love dogs.
I love
and
dogs.
cats are,
Cat, I don't know. Hank might change your mind. Hank's
people always say that about their cat, and then the other thing they say is they go, "Well, you haven't met my cat. He's just like a dog." And I'm like, "Get a dog."
That's actually true. My cat is just like
That's
he's
what-
better.
when a
'cause you
cat's
can
good-
leave. Like right now, no one's with Hank, and he is probably doing chores. Like he just like
washing the dishes.
yeah, he's just very responsible. you know,
It's a roommate more than a pet.
exactly.
Really,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But
So
like
that's why I
a
said
good
I would
roommate.
go to the Upside Down to save Hank.
To save Hank, but not the other.
Not that anybody asked, but I think I identify with Hopper.
Oh, yeah. Does that mean that we're going to be married in some future form? Or
That's
True.
exactly
okay,
right.
sweet. Wow, nice. All right.
With
But-
your cats.
Yeah.
But we
okay.
should let the peoples hear what you sound like.
Sweet. Yeah, let's do it.
What's the first song we're hearing?
It's called Grade School.
Grade School.
Yeah.
I was sitting in class, getting used to my classes when I first drew my name on the back of my lunchbox, holes in my white socks. You said I better get good grades. All the other kids laughed 'cause my teeth had a gap, I guess. I never noticed it before John and his friends knocked the wind from my chest and left me lying in the grass. And I remember when I said it's fine. In all honesty, I lied and didn't know it then that I would never be the same. Is it worth it to mention my need for attention arrived around the same time I pushed a pin through my ear, grounded me for a year, and for what? I was just trying to fit in, and I remember when I said it's fine. In all honesty, I lied and didn't know it then that I would never be the same. And I remember when I said it's fine. In all honesty, I lied and didn't know it then that I would never be the same. I'd never be the same.
we're back.
Duff man.
Oh man. We were talking a little. Oh yes, actually, before that, do you want to go into a little bit about what that song's about? Because obviously,
Sure.
I assume you're not in grade school anymore.
I'm not, thank God.
Just got out last year.
Yeah, shit, it's fresh, but no, I was actually the guy playing piano. His name's Rob, and he and I started writing together about a year ago. Like I met him. He was playing keys for my friend Casey, and I was playing keys for Abby. And we played a show together, and we used the same keys rig. And he was like, "Hey, man, I'm Rob." And then we started hanging out, and it was super cute. And so he had me over to write a song, and I didn't know it was going to be for me or anything that I'd cut. I don't do a lot of that. Like I don't do a lot of co-writing because my music feels so like diary-like, or so kind of journal
personal.
entry. Yeah, it's like really hard for somebody else to come in and be like, "Let me help you write about you," And it's just so anyway. We he had that like do like the melody, and I was just it's like that's cool. I don't have any lyrics really on the top of my head that I think would be good to use, but I started rolling through my phone notes, and I had this note that said, I remember the first time somebody pointed out something that was like wrong with me. And up until that point as a kid, like you kind of just accept like, this is who I am. And you're almost ignorant about like comparison or what other people look like. And so I remember thinking like, that would be kind of neat to dig into further. And so that's where that like, I was sitting in class, getting used to my glasses, kind of building this imagery around being in grade school. And then the insult that specifically I remember is somebody had pointed out my bucked teeth or like my gap in my teeth. And I had pretty shitty teeth. I mean, I had 6 years of braces and they're still fine. So like, I just remember thinking like I went home and I was pretty distraught and I was like, Dad, this kid said I have bucked teeth. I don't even know what that is. And is it bad or like, what's wrong? Like why? And so then you start going down this path for the rest of your life, comparing yourself to everybody and feeling insecure, or at least that's been my story for a long time. And finding a way kind of back to how do I just accept myself and like love who I am?
Yeah.
And so we wrote this song and honestly, it was like one of the most like fluid and efficient songwriting experiences I've ever had. Like we probably pumped that out in like, I don't know, hour and a half or two. And then we had a demo.
Wow.
And I was like, I think I want to cut this. And I had this other song actually called, at the time, Letting You Down. And it was like the next day or 2 days later, I was either like in the shower or the car. I feel like that's kind of where I get like my best ideas. And I was thinking about how the context of the Letting You Down song really resonated with my high school years. And that's when I was like, I really would love to make a concept EP about these like focused around school and the educational system and just like these different stages.
Because you have one
of
for
life.
like each one, right?
Yeah, it's like grade school, high school. We ended up retitling Letting You Down to high school and then undergrad, and then I wanted to cap it off with this kind of like thematic punctuation mark, which is graduation. Which, funny enough, it's like this 1 minute track that means nothing outside of like, it's called Graduation ? Because it's like kind of playing with the existential idea, like, do we ever really, like, we all do this thing and we dress up and we're like, I'm better now, and it's like, did you really graduate, like, or is this all just like the same experience and it's not this linear chapter book? But it's like outperforming all the rest of them, this little like 1 minute song that I didn't, and which is kind of cool. So anyway, but that's mostly about my time in middle school, or just like when I don't know ages very well. I don't have kids or anything. I don't know what I was in what grade, but I feel like it was about 7 or 8 or 9. So, early grade school.
Okay.
Now, have you done therapy before?
I'm big
Dear
on therapy.
God, Ryan, are we getting this shit again?
No, this is actually where a lot of this is coming from. I grew up in a household that didn't really preach therapy. It was kind of a like, hey, if there's nothing wrong with you, unless it's seriously wrong, you probably don't need therapy. And later in life, really around the time of the pandemic starting, I was like, I am feeling pretty anxious and I don't know where to put it. And I went to therapy a little apprehensively, and it has been like people.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.com.
Yeah, exactly. That would be awesome.
Crap, it's not. They just got a free sponsorship. Don't use BetterHelp. Use other people. Until they pay us money.
Worse health.
No, I'm big on therapy. I mean, it's helping me unpack a lot of that and like learn.
Yeah. Have you ever done EMDR?
No, I do want to try that. I've been doing cognitive and behavioral therapy, CBT.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you much more about how it works differently, but that's what it's called.
So EMDR, like I'm
Is that the eye
presently
movement
starting.
thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So I'm like starting it right now, but we haven't like actually dove in yet. And every week, like I did therapy today, and like, you know, it was like $140, and we like worked through creating this list of things we're gonna do. And I was like, God damn it, can I just do the list? I just want to do it. Can we just do the thing? Yeah. Let's go. But yeah, I saw that Jason put a post on Instagram like in the last week or two that he started EMDR.
Yes.
And I'm like curious to talk to him about it and see what he thinks. But my girlfriend did it, and she said it was like revolutionary for her. But basically,
what do you do?
Okay, so I haven't officially done it yet, but we did like the light version where we were like creating my safe space. This is challenging you so much. Sorry, Dusty Buns. So they basically you can either, from what I understand, all they're trying to do. Don't listen to me, by the way. Go Google this. But basically, I think supposedly like trauma is when certain experiences become traumatic for you, they get like stuck and your brain doesn't fully process them. And this is a methodology to try to get you to just finally process this shit and put it away and realize it's in the past and like move on or whatever. And so supposedly they're trying to get the two hemispheres of your brain to talk to each other and kind of like work this thing out. And so what I think you do is I think you go through like negative memories of the past, talk through it, and then they do something to make your two sides of your brain talk to each other. So they can do tapping on your legs like this, back and forth, left to right, or they can do a machine that makes your eyes go back and forth, or they can just hold their hand and you look back and forth.
No way.
Anything that just gets your like body to go left, right, left, right, left, right. And it's trying to like trick your brain into going like, hey, remember this shit? Do something with this.
Whoa.
Like, just go ahead and process that. So that's what I understand.
Like unclogging stuff, basically.
Yeah.
Just so you can
I haven't done it yet to like really be like a advocate, but from what I gather, people who have done it like have had like really amazing results. And it sounds so simple and so like, what would that even do?
Yeah.
But yeah, today I thought I was going to go into it today, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be okay for this interview. Maybe I'm going to be like a crazy crying mess. Who knows? Yeah. But then today we like built a map for what we're going to do, and I was like, can we just do it?
That's cool. I think for me, like I'm learning that like therapy, I mean, all of those like scientific portions are super like above my head and probably very important. But like, I think it's just what happens in therapy is that if you're going, it means you're open to something, like open to growth or change or challenge or like digging up some stuff. And like to have that posture in your headspace already allows you, I think, like infinitely more growth opportunity, because I think a lot of us live our life probably even like subconsciously just like closed off, knowing like this is the way the world works and this is this is my certainty, and it's like
I'm gonna die on this day.
Yeah. It's like there's just not certainty, nothing is actually, I mean, to quote John Lennon, nothing's real.
Nothing is real.
Yeah, it's like I think that's kind of a neat parallel.
I was thinking about getting a "Nothing is Real" tattoo at one point.
I just got one.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Show us. No, that's like the same one I want.
Got, like, little
with the strawberries.
Yeah. Show the viewers.
I almost
That's definitely
made
the thumbnail.
That was one of the things I wanted to do for my first tattoo. I went a different direction, but I want that exact thing. Okay, this is a great segue.
I can do it for you.
Dude, so you quit your job
today? Well, last week, but today was last day. Yeah.
Last day to go into tattoos. So talk about that. How did you get into tattoos? How does one do that?
Yeah, so I was working this tech job for the last year and a half doing like customer service, and it's been a great like source of income and just stability, but I've kind of been living on this fence for pretty much all of my 20s where I'm like speaking of like all the stuff we're unpacking in therapy, like trying to figure out how do I find a career path that gives me fulfillment? And like, it feels like on one side I have music and art, and there's a lot of insecurity and a lot of like gamble to be had with that. And then on the other side, there's like continuing your career path the way that you were raised. And it's pretty straightforward. You get a 401k started and you start to get health benefits. And even that's kind of not real. So like, and anyway, as I've been dancing around all of that, I've just been trying to figure out like, I just want to be happy. Like, I just want to have a job that I like. I want to wake up and, I have one life. I don't want to sit at a desk answering emails for parents complaining that this app doesn't work for my kids. Like, I know that's a meaningful job and it matters to people, but for me, it doesn't provide any fulfillment. And I don't believe that you have to hate your job in this world. So I I've always kind of been artistic, like dabbling in sketching or illustrating. I used to do a bunch of graphic design, and I have a bunch of tattoos from really my first one was, well, I got one when I was 17 because I knew I wanted one, and I got this like cross on my shoulder, you know, it was kind of for my upbringing and my faith at the time. And then a few years later, I was on one of my first tours, and my guitar player was like, we should get tattoos on like every tour we ever go on. And by God, we basically did. Like anytime we were on the road, we got a tattoo. We used some of our like, you know, merch money or whatever we had, and we'd get something. And so I started filling up on my arms pretty quick and getting around tattoo culture and seeing like, this is honestly, every time I was there, I started to think to myself, in another life, I would have really liked to do this, but never accepted that I could just do that if I wanted to, or at least try. And so I, about a year and a half ago, I ordered a stick and poke kit, because people were doing that. You know, it's kind of big in the pandemic. And
what is stick and poke?
it's just like taking a needle. You know, some people call it like a prison tat. It's just like not having a machine. It's just like actually taking a needle, dipping it in ink, and then just like literally sticking, like poking the tattoo into yourself very slowly. Which you can do it. Like they generally look a little bit more like stippled, or I mean, some of them now actually look just as good as a machine tattoo. People have gotten pretty good at them. But I did like a little yin yang, probably about the size of a quarter on above my knee, and I was 3 pokes into it, and I thought, oh shit, I've made a huge mistake. Like this is not, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sitting here in my bedroom, like I'm about to
stabbing yourself over and over.
Yeah, I'm like, this is maybe not smart. I should have drank a little bit more before I did this. And no, but I kept with it, which I think is a whole nother metaphor for some of my thought process. But like I kept going. And then at the end of it, I'm like, you know what? First tattoo, I've seen some really shitty stick and pokes, and this looks cool. Like maybe I do know it. Like I'd watched a lot of videos, and like I'd probably spent, I don't know, collected 10 hours of like doing some research, because I'm kind of an information heavy guy. Like I want to know what I'm going into. I don't want to just, you know,
I'm the same way.
Fake it too much. And so, yeah, I did like 3 or 4 on myself, and then I started having friends be like, "Hey, could you give me one of those?" And I'm like, legally, no. Like I think that's like borderline a felony in Tennessee, like manslaughter charges or something.
Manslaughter.
Yeah. And I was like, but if you don't like post on Instagram and you come over, like I've got all this stuff and I've got fresh needles and I've got cleaning supply, I was like, I have to do like something small. And so I did a few friends at my house, and that's quickly where they were like, they would tell their friends, then more people were like, can I get one? And I was like, this is either going to get out of control and I'm going to be tattooing out of my house and get in trouble, or like I just didn't know what to do with it. And so I was actually getting a tattoo from a guy in town, and I was kind of telling him this. I was like, hey man, what should I do? Like, can you get an apprenticeship? Is it? And he's like, not really in town. It's really hard to get one, but I know somebody in Clarksville if you'd want to drive out there, and maybe she'd be cool. And so I texted her, got her contact, went out. It's like an hour, you know, each way. So I was driving 2 hours round trip for this. And she was like, I had to do like a drawing test and so many things. And then they eventually were like, we'd love for you to be our apprentice. And so for the last year, I'd been driving out there a couple times a week, learning how to tattoo. And then as of a week ago, I got through my apprenticeship, and I had a shop in town that I had also gotten tattooed at. And I told them some of this, and they were like, oh, we might be hiring. And so I emailed them, never heard back. And then the day that I decided to quit my job and I put in my notice, like an hour later, I got an email from them, and they were just like, hey, we'd love for you to come by the shop and hang out. And I start on Friday. So I got the job. And so I feel like I'm a step closer to doing art full time, like getting to just kind of work for myself and do tattooing and hopefully let that be a means to doing more music. But
okay, now, did you give Abby her stick and poke tattoo?
I have tattooed her 3 times now, I think.
Because she had like an Ohio one, like maybe it was the area code.
Yeah, the red one.
You gave that to her?
Yeah, that was a
So remember when she was on the show, she's like, "Oh, my friend gave me the stick and poke."
That was me.
And you were like, "Was that a prison tattoo or something like that?" Anyway, that's so funny.
She was the first person actually that I ever tattooed outside of myself, and I never will forget. I was just like, I was so nervous, you know.
Yeah,
I'm sure she said my friend Tim. I did not put 2 and 2 together that it was you.
At the time too, like I was very like, I don't want anybody, like I don't want to get in trouble, you know. I don't know the laws or the rules. And, you know, so no, it's she was the first one, and then Seth came and got one, and
oh nice. Well, like that red tattoo on your wrist there looks very similar.
Yeah, that one was actually hand poked as well. I didn't do that one, but that was hand poke. That's where I kind of saw it for the first time, like somebody hand poke, and realized, oh, you can make a pretty quality tattoo just without like a machine and a power supply and stuff like that. So
interesting.
Yeah.
So when you're apprenticing at a tattoo place, like, I assume you're giving people tattoos.
Yeah, eventually. The first, like, honestly, for some people, it's all apprenticeships are different, but like there's kind of a like hazing induction. Like it's a very like you are the runt of the group, and so you're doing coffee runs, and you're getting everybody's food, and you're breaking down stations and setting up stations and taking out trash for like months before you're ever even considered like allowed to look at a tattoo machine, like.
Well, like how do you make that swap from like not doing it to all of a sudden I'm drawing permanent pictures on people?
Well, and that's kind of where for me I feel like mine was a little accelerated because I had already done that at home before that,
probably
and so I
helps.
was like, okay, I know more than they know that I know. Like,
and it helps you get over the nervousness.
it does, and I was like,
writer.
I can't out myself yet because I need to like do my due diligence and not be a little cocky about this. And I did. I stuck around, and I actually had a guy, I wouldn't advise this at this point, but I had a guy at the shop who heard that I had done some tattoos at home, and I had stopped doing it once I got this apprenticeship, but he was just like, hey man, you should tattoo as much as you freaking can at home, like just to get the practice in that you're going to need, basically. And he's like, that way when you get a shot, again, I don't advise this, it's not ideal, but like you can ultimately like maybe be a little bit further ahead. And so that's what I did. I started taking like a few friends at home, and I'd be like, hey, I'm going to use my machine. I bought a machine from another guy, and I was like, I'm going to actually give you like a real tattoo. They call them like kitchen stabbers or kitchen tattoo art, and they turned out pretty good. And then I did one across my knee that says Godspeed, and one day I was wearing shorts in the shop. This is like after 6 or 7 months, and I'd been sitting and watching, because that's a big part of the apprenticeship too, is just watching people tattoo, which is like, it's interesting for the first few hours, and then it's like watching paint dry after that. You're just like,
oh my God, it's gonna be so
just
boring.
Hours of watching somebody do this.
Yeah.
And you're just like, awesome. But it is informative and it's good. But they saw this tattoo and they said, that's nice. Who did that? And it looked pretty fresh. And I was just like, oh, this is my moment. I either out myself or I lie. And I was like, I did. And they're like, here? And I said, no, it was at my house. And she was just like, she like thought for a second, looked at me, and she's like, A, don't ever do that again. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm about to lose my apprenticeship. And then she's like, B, it looks great. And then the next time I came in, like the next week, there's part of like a tradition where they had this box for me. And she said, open it up. And I open it, and there's all these pieces like nuts and bolts and frames and coils. And she says, build a machine. And I was like,
what?
Excuse me? I don't have an engineering degree here.
What?
And so that's like an old school thing to do, is like you would build your tattoo machine, which it's very like, it's actually a pretty simple design. I mean, it's basically just a circuit that breaks and then reconnects and breaks based on the coils, like magnetizing this. This is like way too heady at this point, but it's pushing the needle up and down, because it's like creating a circuit, breaking the circuit, creating the circuit, breaking the circuit really fast. And so I'm looking at all this, and she helped me, but like over the course of an hour, I'm like building this machine, and then underneath it there was like a missing piece I couldn't find. She's like, where's that other piece? I'm like, I don't know, that must not be in here. She's like, did you look everywhere? And I was like, no. I was looking in the box, and there's like a fabric she had glued at the bottom, like a false bottom, and I opened it up. There's a key in there, and then I turn around, there's another box, and I open it, and there's a brand new like tattoo machine and a power supply and needles. And she's like, congratulations, go start tattooing fake skin. So I started tattooing fake skin. And then the next day she was like,
fake skin.
That's where you start.
I was going to ask.
Yeah,
like
you can't just gloss over fake skin
Yeah,
here.
yeah. It's like you can buy like fake hands or fake, heads, or you can buy just about any body part. Like,
Does it feel the same?
No, it's like rubbery, like silicone kind of.
But it like
material.
interacts the same?
It's actually almost nothing like skin, I think. Like there's one really expensive brand that's pretty close, but like what actually operates most like skin is like an orange or a grapefruit or a banana. And so that's what they have you do after that, because like, again, maybe too heady, but when you're tattooing, like you don't want to go too deep or you'll create this like blowout. And so like what an orange has is it has that like peel, and if you go too deep, it'll break the skin. And so like you learn to tattoo on the peel, not into the orange. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, orange peel is pretty thick.
It is,
right?
Yeah. Banana's the one that people say, like, if you tattoo a banana and it bruises, you're doing it too hard. And so you have to have this really delicate, like, hand speed and all that stuff.
Okay, I have a question. I want to show you in a second. So I told you I have a new tattoo that I got on tour.
Okay.
It's a cactus in front of a sun. There's one part of the cactus arm that got a little blurry.
Okay.
And my question to you is, did the tattoo artist like do something wrong. He'll never hear this episode, by the way. I don't even know his name. He lives in Phoenix. He will never hear this.
Okay, let me see.
Did he do something wrong, or did I like not take good care of it? Can that mess it up? Here we go.
It certainly can. Where at?
So
Like here?
right there, in that spot, it's just like a little light and blurry.
I mean, it's hard to
See
say.
like it's sharp blue lines there,
Yeah.
and then here it's kind of like disconnects a little bit.
It's definitely It's not blown out. I think I would say not the tattoo doctor here, but I
Yeah.
feel like it looks like it either like in the healing process caught something, and if you pull out one of those scabs when it's healing, it can pull ink out. I think
Really?
that probably either happened or potentially he just didn't have a very consistent line. If you don't go deep enough, it is a very fine line. If you don't go deep enough, the ink actually won't really saturate, and then when it might look like it does, but then when it heals, it's like you have a ghost line. And
Yeah.
so
We were in the desert for the next few days, so every day it would get so like dry, and I kept trying to like
That's
put
probably
stuff
it.
on it.
It's probably
but it
just
would get so dry
Yeah.
and crack and shit.
good news is, I mean, that's a 2-second touch up.
Yeah,
So
I'm
certainly-
curious. Can that be fixed and like the color match and all
Oh,
that?
yeah. That's way easier than if it was poorly applied. I would say the artist did a good job. I think it doesn't look like you can tell when it's like actually executed poorly, but that doesn't.
Okay.
It just looks like it healed a little strange. I have like spots like that where it just like I need more black in there because it fell out.
Yeah.
Just
I feel like with all the tattoos I've gotten, there's like an acclimation period for me of trying to like thinking like there's things about it I would change, and it takes some time for me to just kind of look at it and be like, and then like
that's the thing about them.
over time I accept it where I'm just like, no, that's what it is. It's fine.
I'm like a clinical perfectionist, so there was a moment in my apprenticeship where I was just like, I can't do this anymore because I would leave a tattoo and be like, that one line is wrong, and it's like in the grand scheme, nobody's gonna give a shit, but like I was losing sleep over it because I'm like, and I think if anything, I'm glad I have stuck with it because it's teaching me just not to hold shit so rigid in my life, like everything has to be perfect because nobody's perfect. I mean, it sounds cliche. It is cliche.
Back to therapy.
It's also true though. It's like it's interesting to see how like in my music, I mean, even in the song, not to out myself, but I'm like, oh, there's moments where I'm like, I could have done that better because that's how my brain initially reacts to everything. It's like you could have been better. You could have been like the bar is way too impossibly high.
Yeah.
And that has like really accelerated my growth. It creates like a need to be great in me, but it also is like detrimental in the sense that like I lose a lot of sleep, you know, because I'm just like, I wish I was better. I wish I was 20 years into tattooing in the first year.
Right. That's kind of freaks me out about getting a tattoo. I don't have any tattoos.
Yeah.
I've always been open to getting tattoos.
It's way harder to get your first tattoo than any other tattoo in your life, I think.
And that also, so that's it's kind of a two-part. So on
Dude,
one,
let's
I'm
do
worried
it.
I'm worried they're gonna fuck it up. I'm worried it's gonna be not right, and
Yeah.
then that's forever.
You just gotta
well,
find artists you
forever-ish.
trust.
We gotta
Right.
let's do like a You Me Music Row Hideout.
Yeah.
Maybe. And Wesley's pointing to himself because he left him out. What a dick.
Bring Wesley right in.
I mean, that's kind of the cool thing, though, is like even like fucking it up is like, to your point about like, oh, it's an acclimation period. It's like I have tattoos where I'm like, that guy didn't do great. I have apprentice tattoos that I've let, a friend tattoo me. And I'm like, I think at some point I just started to be like, and it helps when you have a lot more because they all blend together. But like, you just don't. You recognize that it's another human putting ink in, like literally drawing permanently into your skin.
It's wild.
It's like it is wild. It's magic, is what it is, and it's like how could you expect perfection? Like it's a human
Right, you
doing
can't.
it. It's
That's part of the
close. I
problem.
mean, there are really really good tattoo artists, and I'm like, how did you actually do that? And it's skill, but I think like even those tattoos probably have things that didn't go right, or
But the flip side of it is also I know I have an addictive personality,
same.
and I know
Really?
people get addicted to tattoos.
I've never thought of using an addictive personality.
Yeah, I just keep it in fucking check.
That's a good button press.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I do have
for the-
Gabby's skill.
For the audio only listeners, just a reminder: he can't read what these buttons are. He just sees a color. He
I
just
just think
pressed the
this is a
green
green
one,
moment.
and it was
Green's my
he knew.
favorite color, so I went for it. Oh, but to answer what we were just talking about is I feel like addicting, yes, there's science behind that supposedly. I haven't read too deep on this, but that like there's something about maybe this is to your therapy point about unfinished, unresolved stuff, but completing a like trial, like a painful like getting over the mountain, being done with it, your brain like almost erases how it felt so that you can like not hate yourself, I guess. And it creates this, and you get this like flood of dopamine at the end that's like, I fucking did that. You know, it's like I'm awesome. That's what's actually more addicting, I think, than like I want new ink, because it's like I want the thrill. I want to hurt myself and then have something to be proud of. And so I think that's what people get addicted to.
Yeah. I just remember I had this in college. There was this girl I knew, and she told me she had a bunch of tattoos, and she said, she was like 19, and she already had a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me about it. She's like, I'm addicted. I can't stop getting tattoos. I love it, whatever. Now I see her on Facebook. I'm like, you're just one tattoo now.
Yeah, that is true.
You're like head to toe.
That's the beauty of being 6'4" with these like lanky arms. I'm like, I got
lots of canvas.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she's like 5'3". Like,
true.
Like my tattoos, I've only done these like little ones so far. So like, there's a lot of space left.
You've got a lot of little ones.
And each little tattoo I have, I did on a special trip. I did Erica's birthday, Wesley's wife.
Nice.
Last year. I did Wesley's birthday in Cancun.
Well, my birthday is
I did
in
our
August
tour.
if you want to get another
Yeah, you can
one.
get shit
Ooh,
for my
mine
birthday.
too. When's your
a couple months
birthday?
ago.
August 6th.
August 26th.
Oh.
Wow.
And so like doing
Sweet.
So
Oh, that's the wrong thing.
the intro.
Too much. See, I've lost my button privileges.
Gabby
That's
too.
right.
It's all about what you do next. It's all about how you
We'll
come
just
up
swap
from
the
that
second
moment.
page of buttons, fresh buttons.
Oh, thank you.
New buttons. And so all of my tattoos so far have linked to a special event that I'll always remember.
Cool.
And that's kind of what I'm really enjoying, is like doing tattoos as like a group activity.
Yeah.
And that's helped me to go,
There's meaning behind it, yeah. Which like
Yeah.
they don't all have to be that way. I'm not like one of those like everything has to mean something, but like I do think like almost every song I've ever written.
yeah, you do music too.
Yeah. We'll get to that another time. This is thank you for joining us on Tattoo Row Hideout. No, this is like I feel like most of my tattoos mean something or have some sort of like song quality about them, or like, oh, this is for that song or for my wife or for this moment in my life. And then I have like this coyote that doesn't mean shit. I'm just like, that's cool. Yeah. He looks mad,
Oh my gosh. So I did this tattoo here, and I'll show you closer.
Oh yeah.
It's just a cool shape that I found on the internet.
It is cool.
And it has a mid-century modern feel, and
Kinda
that's kind of my
abstract.
aesthetic.
Yeah.
If you look around the studio, I love that kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it looked cool, but it has no meaning. And so anyway, I was in Cancun for Wesley's birthday, and I showed a picture to my girlfriend afterwards, and she was like, well, what's the meaning? And I was like, there's no meaning. And she was like, sent me like a laughy, cryy face afterwards. Like, you'll have to show me in person. And I just felt judged. And I was like, who cares? Like, like it's just cool.
Oh, that was like kind of my upbringing. Like there was like, I know they meant well, but there was a lot of like, so what does this one mean? Please, God, let it mean something. Like, and I'm just like, eventually I'm like, once I have enough that you don't even know I got a new one, that's kind of
that's good. So when we did this one on our tour, it's for the audio only listeners, it is just a cactus in front of a sun, and we did it in Phoenix. So I sent her a picture of it, and I said, it means peace in Hebrew.
She said, wow, I love that.
No, she just rolled her fucking eyes.
That's amazing.
Okay. So you were talking about faith earlier,
Sure.
and talk to me about that. So
Yeah.
So when
That's
you've
a pretty
talked
broad
about,
topic.
yeah, no, okay. Here's my like seed question.
Yeah, people
you can
have
say
it. I don't
whatever-
know.
you can say whatever you want or don't want, but like I've had enough alcohol to be like,
Sure.
let's just talk about this now. So I've noticed every time we talk about faith, it's like what you were raised in.
Yeah, I would say this. Broad spectrum, I'm a very spiritual person. I would not call myself religious at this point. I do.
Ooh, what's the difference for you?
I think spirit is like spirituality is something that is like, I think it's something we're born with. I think it's like there's this mysterious kind of connection between people and the world and things, and it's a bit inexplicable, like I think, and I don't want to deny that. Like I've seen it happen. I mean, even in the like what I was saying earlier about like I felt so compelled. I felt like actually Seth told me this. He said your life is like this magnetic strip, and when you stray away from it, it almost something like pulls you back to the like thing you're supposed to be doing or the place you're supposed to be. And people dance around that a lot, and they feel probably miserable or out of tune with themselves. But when you're like on that path, this is maybe a bit woo woo for people, but I'm pretty woo woo. So you feel fulfilled, I think. And I think that is what I experienced this week, where I'm like, I have been feeling for about a year and a half that I'm not on the path. I'm not doing the thing that I actually want to be doing. And granted, I'm a couple days into that now, so I don't know that I can really truly give any kind of quantifiable data around where I'm at. But I quit my job and I felt peace about it. And then I get another opportunity that seems more in line with my, it almost felt like the universe needed me to take a leap of what I would call faith to offer me what it wants to, And I don't know if like people call that God, people can call it the source or the, the universe, whatever. And I think they might all just be the same thing. We only have limited language. We don't really, and we're human. Again, we can't know what we don't know. And there's so much we don't know, I think. And I like to accept that. And so I think that's for me, in a nutshell, is like spirituality. It's like interacting with the unknown and seeking truth somewhere in the midst. Religion, to me, is humans' attempt at qualifying all of those things and putting them into their boxes and saying, like, this is why this works this way. Of course. It's so obvious. It's like, that's what I grew up with. Is like, if you don't do this, this will happen. If you do this, this will happen. And for a while, I subscribed to those things. Like, I really, I still do some of those things without getting too into it, which we can. But I think what I have felt was unhealthy is I was raised in the church. I was sold out. I was Christian, evangelical.
Sold out tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah, just that phraseology.
I can give you all of the exactly.
His cousin used to have a lanyard that he wore that said sold out.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Just so people would ask him.
Yes.
What was that?
It's like, remember whose you are, not who you are. And it's like, that's kind of where I'm at, is I'm like, I grew up with that. I was going to be a worship pastor. I was going to go on missions trips. And like, I think I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think there are things that I was raised with that I'm like, this is inherently beautiful and like special and important, and it's part of my story, whether I like it or not. What happened though, as I got to college, I went to a Christian private school for a little bit, didn't finish there, and I started working. I grew up evangelical. I started working at this Methodist church, and I was going to a Church of God, which is like a really Pentecostal kind of church school, and so I'm like instantly, like my logical brain is like, I was like in this insular community for 18 years of my life saying, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way. And the first thing I see when I get out of that bubble is that like everybody else does it differently. And so like what I struggled with, I think the most is like, if everybody thinks they're so right, is anybody right? Like, why would I go to this next church and be like, no, you guys have it. And I'm lucky because I'm here. And I'm at the place that knows, and it's just like
that's tough.
And yeah, and I'm 18, I'm having this like full on deconstruction kind of like, I didn't even know what to call it. And that almost has become like a hot button word, I think. And I think it's a good thing to do, like to break down some of these things that you are just raised into without having any kind of objectivity around. And my first thought was like, fuck it, I'm done. I don't want to be a Christian, not because I don't believe it, but because like, I spent my whole childhood afraid of going to hell, like making it. Probably lent to my like perfectionism in a way, is like I have to be exceptional so I don't burn in eternity, like I was told when I was 6. And you're just like, my therapist has said like that's traumatic for anyone. Like no 6-year-old should be afraid of eternity.
Yeah, like thought about it even one time.
Not even exactly. And so I think
you should be thinking about Saturday morning cartoons.
Exactly. You should be having a good time thinking about being present, which I think like, to say where I'm kind of at now is I had that moment of like, it's all garbage, throwing it all out. And I've come back around to like, I don't know very much about what I'm certain on, but I believe that there are some universal truths, like some values that I'm starting to adopt, which is like, you gotta love people. Like you just gotta like believe in like taking care of each other and like being like selfless as much as you can around that. Like it's just, there's such a like, especially in like capitalist America, I feel like there's such a like build your own way and protect you and at all costs, push everybody down along the way. And it's like, I just don't buy into that. I think like, if anything, the universe is kinder to you. Not that it's so transactional, but it feels like it all works out in harmony when you are taking care of one another. And so I think that's kind of like if I'm going to say that's my religion, that might be it right now. Like, and I believe in something. I believe in, I don't believe all of this is just like, happenstance or, an accident. I think that there was intention behind the way things are, just by the way I absorb the world. And, yeah, I think that's kind of like where I'm at. Now I'm trying to figure out, now what do I do with it artistically? Like, how do I talk about that? Because, or do I have to talk about it, or like, I was so, for a while I had a hard time writing songs because I had a lot of people be like, why aren't you making Christian music? You're a Christian. And it's like,
Yeah.
because I don't.
Like, I'm out here trying to make good music.
Because I literally hate Christian music, because it's not.
Did somebody actually say that to you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Family, friends.
It's gotta suck being from Ohio.
That's the end of that statement. Like, no context. Hey, man, it's gotta suck being from Ohio.
I don't know. No one's ever said that to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm jealous in a lot of ways of people that aren't raised in the church, because I think they see life in a way that I have a really hard time getting to. Like, it almost just doesn't feel so.
I'm a weird case, or not a weird case. I'm an in between.
Okay.
I wasn't raised in the church, but I ended up in the church like in high school, and so I lived like outside of the church and then like came into it.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of an in between.
And I
of
I
not part of the church and whatever.
I'm almost jealous of even that, because it's like at some point, maybe it sounds like you had a choice in that. Like, I'm going because I want to go, which like I did want to go because I have my childhood best friends. I met my wife in church. Like, she was the pianist in the youth band, and I was a guitar player. And we took it. Our first date was Kings Island Amusement Park in Cincinnati, and yeah, it's like we lived like right by there. Yeah, it's kind of like a small Six Flags or something like that. But
it's like Three Flags.
It's like it's like
Three Flags over Cincinnati.
But and that's what I say is like, if anything, I don't look at it and say like this was a waste. This was because I learned how to play guitar in the church like that. And I think a lot of people's, especially here, story is somewhat rooted in like, I was a musician at church and eventually left or eventually changed where I'm at. But like, that was free guitar lessons and a community of musicians that every week you're playing and every week you're getting better and every week you're learning very accessible songs. And like, my singing journey was like, I've never been one to say like I'm a great singer. I've actually pretty much hated my voice my whole life, and I've wrestled with like finding ways to like it, and still am. But I think that's rooted in like, I started singing because the guy who was actually good at singing at 16 like moved churches or like graduated at 18, and they're all looking around like, well, who's gonna be the new guy? And for whatever reason, I'm so introverted. I don't know why I was like, but I was just like, yep, that's I'm gonna be the new guy. And they were like, you can sing, and I was like, yeah, sure. Like, and I could not sing, and like it was just so bad. And I feel like every week was just like me going home like, did I sound bad? Did I sound bad? Did I, like, overthinking it, over trying to get better to prove something, or to make the keys player like me more or whatever, like. And it's just been a journey, but I owe that to the church of getting into it and like feeling like that's how I found music is by watching other people play guitar and write and things like that.
Huh. Okay, I have a little bit of a different perspective for you.
Okay.
So I grew up in the church.
Okay.
Real heavily.
Yeah.
And I feel people who didn't grow up in the church are missing out on something that we have, and that's being...
Is it Jesus?
No. That's like, there's this... Especially if you go to I guess all different sizes of churches have this at different levels.
Sure.
But being part of a community that's not your school or your family, that has, especially in a bigger church, which was normally what I went to, tons of like activities and opportunities, things that you just do. You become like part of this. It's almost like a second school.
Yeah.
Like a whole second friend group, a whole second group of people you know. And like buying into that, I feel like there's so many benefits. But you're right, like learning guitar. Like,
sure. Oh yeah,
I played guitar in church a ton, and
it's so like philanthropic. Like they really like, at their best, they're taking care of people.
Yeah. Now I'm not going to church right now.
Sure. Sure.
I'm not really in that now, but
I like that perspective though, because I do feel like it's important to recognize like, I think what I struggle with more is the like, legalistic like, this has to be this way, and it's all existential, and like, I think if there was a way to
Those are
have
some
that
of my biggest
community,
issues.
yeah, it's like it almost would have been better to be a part of like a homeschool co-op that does the same.
Or just like a
stuff, but
regular
doesn't-
cult.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah, just like
Okay. It's got so many things. I want to say two different things right now. One is, I want to say, I think that one thing I process is, I think the things that bother all of us about church and the legalism and all the things, you can never like nail down to one person or one specific thing. It's all this like collection of humans, and like some people, at the end of the day, it's almost like this like aggregate problem. But if you think about your problems with like church culture and you think about one individual you met in church, you're like, well, not them. It's just like this weird aggregate thing that happens.
yeah.
Here's
I
the other
agree.
thing I want to say.
Yeah, it's a moral superiority.
Our band played at a cult in Tucson last week.
Whoa.
Or when we were on tour 2 weeks ago, whatever it was.
Is it a famous cult or a big cult?
I don't think they're famous,
Okay.
but they sure do believe Jesus said there would be
What
UFOs.
a bummer not to be a famous cult.
I know.
You know? Just like a
It's like
everyday
you were
cult.
so close.
It's a very obscure cult.
Jesus,
You wouldn't
believes
have heard
that-
of it.
They believe that Jesus said that UFOs are coming.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe,
and
dude.
more.
I mean, I'm here for that. That's a conspiracy. I want to
Oh,
jump
bro,
on.
if
Like,
you heard this leader talk, you would not want to believe anything he said. Bro,
but can you hook me up with your booking agent though? Because that sounds awesome.
I sure can. I'll shout him out, Matt Starnes.
Okay.
Anyway, this guy, dude. Okay, this cult leader, he's got to be in his like 70s, white long hair. He has
Yeah.
a band. They play world music.
Yeah.
He sucks at singing. He's like one of those old guys that's like from like has like a 70s voice but a bad one. It's kind of like
We're all heading there though.
Anyway, he has like a crazy flowing robe and a golden cane. And
Sounds kind of awesome.
this cult, they
badass.
believe in they have the Bible. Like they believe in the Bible, but they also believe in the Urantia book and then the Cosmic Family volumes
Urantia?
1 and 2.
Because
Urantia.
volume 3 is
we
heresy.
used to say that in Ohio, like, hey, can you pass your ranch over here so I can put it on?
They're into that. They love that. And when we went to this cult, it's in Tucson, Arizona, by the way. Every single person had a weird name. I met a woman named Genevieve.
Whoa,
I met a
that's like 3 names in one.
so many names.
It's Vivian, Genevieve,
Genevieve.
and Anne.
I met this 18-year-old young man named Oliveden.
Whoa.
And he was like, what's your name? And I'm like, Ryan. And he's like, well, that's easy.
You're like,
And he goes, my name's kind of far out.
yeah. You're like really hyping yourself up, kid. yeah.
I mean, to be fair, if you have grown up, oh, that's it. Is that him?
Oh, yeah! Gabriel of Urantia.
Whoa. Well, he kind of has like a Sauron vibe. you know,
Yes,
like
dude.
a little bit.
So that is their compound for the audio.
You played
only
in. You
listeners.
played in there.
No, not in
Oh,
there.
okay.
It was they had a
That would
venue
be dope.
downtown. That is their part of their eco village. If
Commune.
you're listening, go look up the University of Ascension Science and the Physics of Rebellion. That is what that is what that building is called.
It's like the science of rebellion?
Yeah.
I'm into it. I'm joining the cult.
I mean, maybe that's what we're talking about in a way. It's like, you know, it's not.
Maybe they've been right
Good
all
job,
along.
Wesley. So
Yes, that's wild.
So we went and watched some video later of him, that guy Gabriel you just saw, and in the video is called "How to Not Have a Heart Attack While Watching Conspiracy Videos on the Internet." And in that video, he's just talking about all the conspiracy videos on YouTube, and he's basically being like a fact checker, shitting on all the conspiracies.
Which is exactly
On
what
the
you
whole
see
internet.
in churches, I think. Like, that's the thing is I think you see everybody, like, because it sounds like, to me,
Yeah.
it sounds like he feels like he has this secret knowledge about things and how everybody else is wrong. Let me explain it to you via my YouTube channel.
Uh-huh.
How different is that from, like, going to this church and being like, hey, you don't want to go to the Scientology church because they're wrong on this. or
But
this
he
church-
does seem to claim that he's the spirit of Jesus.
I mean, aren't we all? I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Is like, I don't think he's wrong.
That's the thing is, if it was more popular, it would no longer be a cult.
Right.
It would be a religion.
So in the
Yeah.
true. So in this video, but here's why he's not more popular. In this video, he's just like, this conspiracy's dumb, this conspiracy's dumb, this conspiracy's dumb. And then about 5 minutes in, he goes, now don't get me wrong. Of course there are UFOs visiting the Earth, just like Jesus said there would be 2,000 years ago.
Did he say that?
And more so now.
I remember that verse.
Oh, yeah.
And more so now than ever because the coming end. And the government's building underground buildings to try to escape the coming
I
tribulation.
mean, they probably are.
They probably
yeah, they
are.
absolutely
Yeah,
are doing that.
Likely. But
But if there's tribulation coming, an underground like building is not going to be like
I mean, it depends
That's
on the
what he
kind of
said.
tribulation.
that's what he said.
right? If
So-
it's just like a bunch of rude
UFOs
guys,
come down. They're like,
you know?
it's only for surface dwellers.
So he goes, I don't think they've taken into account the earthquakes and volcanoes that are going to be happening and the sub-zero temperatures.
Yeah, that kind
blah,
of
blah, blah.
tribulation, that's not going to be that great.
yeah.
And
I mean, we already have. There's like tornadoes hitting this area
Yeah.
like every other week.
There's
I
like-
mean, it's
we got
like,
tornadoes.
We already have tribulation.
California burns to the ground every year.
It's been Tribulation Tuesday. Welcome.
Like-
But my favorite part of the entire video, and I really, if you guys want to help me, I want to turn this into a meme so much. But he says, in our over-medicated and hypochondriac culture, where everybody has diseases such as restless leg syndrome.
I do actually have that. I'm not even lying.
I get that sometimes.
Same.
I get that
I get it.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
And
like,
he
yeah,
goes-
it's very sparse, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So he says restless, and then he says, and I must be bipolar. And then he goes off from there, and I'm just like,
Yeah, he lost me. I feel like that's the thing, though. It's like, this is a perfect case study in my little stupid brain is that, like, he's not entirely probably wrong on everything. He's wrong on a lot based on what you just said. I think. Humbly.
Or maybe he's just fucking nailed
bro.
it.
Maybe.
No, dude, go read their website. You'll see how deeply wrong
But he's
this man
searching
is.
for something.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Yes.
that's the thing is like, okay, man, you want to believe in UFOs? If you're not like hurting anybody,
You do you, boo.
you do you. If you want to start a cult around it, okay, now like I don't know. You shouldn't be teaching kids all this stuff. Probably.
Yeah, it's
But,
when you
know,
start telling other people what
Yeah.
to do and they start listening, it becomes
Yes.
worse.
Ugh. But here's the other thing. At this cult, they told us day of, we've only sold one ticket. We don't know what's happened. We spent $500 on marketing. We don't know what's going
like
on.
you should have just paid us that, you know.
True. Also, I don't think they really spent $500. I think that they just were calling that in the value because they also have a radio station.
Oh yeah.
So I think they were saying by doing these radio ads, it's a $500 value kind of a thing, you know?
Fair.
But once we got there, we're like, oh, like the building we played in looked like a temple. I'm like, everyone in town knows you're the cult. That's why they're not coming to your shows. So then they're like, hey, guess what? We've sold 7 tickets now. Well, we get out there and we play the show, and there's like 50 people there. And we're like, oh, wow,
You're
okay,
like,
it all
cool.
came together. Great. Well, I figured out later, only 7 people bought tickets. Everybody else was a member of the cult. And do you think
That's what the industry calls the guest list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think they charged the people from the cult? No. They all
just-
got to come for free, which tells me that they all just got a free concert.
Tells me that you got kind of scammed.
We got scammed by a cult.
Sounds like they paid with the cost of their soul.
Now, to be fair, have you ever been in Tucson?
Yeah. Is it like Red Rocks area kind of?
Not at all.
No, it's
no.
the opposite of that.
Well, hold on. Let me
Are
try
they-
to throw you a bone
See,
here.
I told you I wasn't good at geography.
Red Rocks Amphitheater.
No.
is in
Sorry. Like,
Denver,
like
Colorado.
Sedona. Like
Sedona.
Sedona.
Yeah.
has Red Rocks.
That does have- you're
and
right,
It's
that's
near
right.
Tucson.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So I'm
okay,
right. Yeah,
okay.
You were always
I
right.
know where
Just-
Denver is.
Just
But-
like church. You were raised in that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
When you go to Tucson, you very quickly realize there is nothing here.
Yeah.
It is a
Just
in
for
the
the
middle of
I've
the
heard
desert.
Santa Fe, New Mexico is really cool. Have you guys been there? I've never been, but I've,
we played there the next night.
people say
It's incredible.
yeah, I
Really?
wanna go-
Beautiful.
I want to go there.
I've never heard anything good about New Mexico.
But to wrap up
Tucson
my
looks like this.
religion, yes, here's the picture of
This is Tucson.
holds up tattoo of a cactus.
Hold on, Wesley. I'm going to put it in his shot.
what?
That's what Tucson looks like. Only cactuses.
Only cacti.
Oh.
For the scholars among us. I was just gonna say, I think at the end of the day, where I'm at now is the older I get, the less I know. If I were to look over the religion I was presented with as a kid,
Wesley just put a thing on the screen that said, I saw nothing. LOL."
I feel like when I read, I've read most of the Bible probably over my time in 18, 20 years of being a Christian, and I feel like the parts that I really can hold on to are like this person of Jesus is, whether you want to believe Son of God or not, did some good stuff, said great, like didn't really do what the church is doing now. Pretty unconventional, like taking care of the marginalized.
Pretty
Which is
progressive.
the church is not doing. Pretty progressive. Hanging out with, people that I feel like you don't see the larger church. They're very insular. They like to build the mega church and have the big show. And it's like, and not that they're out, I don't want to generalize a whole people group, because there's, like you said, you meet great people that are part of the church, and there are. And there's also less the great people, to put it diplomatically. And I think I can buy into that. I can buy into, like, at a minimum, there are some character qualities of this around the story of this person that I'd like to exhibit in my own life. I want to take care of people. I'd like to find solitude and find time for myself. Talk about a guy who spent time by himself. I mean, that's not something that you hear a lot, meditating, praying, those kind of things, like whatever you want to call it, just like spending time in your head, spending time in the world, but not of it. Rather than, I don't know. I just think that's kind of like that's where I'm at. I don't know if I think that they've got much else right. I'm just, I'm looking for truth. I'm trying to take care of the people around me and be happy, and I don't know.
Now, speaking of looking for truth, I believe you have a song that says, "What do you think that means?"
Oh, look at that show. Look at that segue.
And it's about the church.
It's about television, actually.
Yeah, true story.
So we're gonna have you play a song in a second called TV. What's the song about? What do you want to tell people?
This ties in nice, actually. I as a kid, true story. Again, probably at this point now 10. I'm laying on the floor of our newly finished basement. We had one of these big old, fully glass screen TVs with the, big back on it. Not plasma. They didn't even have that kind of stuff yet. And I was watching I want to say a DVD. I don't know if that was around yet. It was either that or VHS of probably Shrek
Laserdisc.
or something similar. And I'm laying on the ground. I don't even think we had furniture in the basement yet, except for this TV sitting on like a
Shrek would probably
entertainment
be
table.
DVD by that point.
I think so. I remember when DVDs came out, and I was like, this is just a CD.
You were stupid as a kid.
Yeah. The whole world is like, what do you mean this has a video on it, but this one doesn't? How do you know? So I'm just laying there, and I'm like, I was so fidgety and still am. I was kicking the like door that held the like tape or the VHSs or the DVDs or whatever, and this like probably Target quality entertainment center just collapses, and this whole television just like, I mean, I can still see it today, just like starts to and I'm like laying on the floor.
So I was listening to that on the way over here.
You actually
say in the song that time the TV fell on me.
Yeah.
That for real, like the TV actually fell on you.
I had that moment of like, you hear about like mothers lifting cars for their kids. Like I had that moment of like, I am not strong, but I can lift a TV like, probably 50 pounds off my head, and I just push it. And I run upstairs. I remember feeling so dizzy and like blacked out kind of moment. And I'm like, Mom, I'm like crying. I'm like, my TV fell on me. And she's like, oh my God. And apparently I had like a bruise and a big old like concussion. And they're like, rushed me to the emergency room. They're like, this happened. Is he okay? And long story short, yeah, I was fine. I just had a concussion. I had to be careful for a few, weeks or months or whatever it was to not overwork my brain. And, well, like a week or two later, my parents, I didn't realize that this was the intention. I was talking to my mom about this, and she said, yeah, we used to have you read the paper because we wanted you to be current on things, like as a kid. Like they would, and again, I'm like, okay, I'm reading the paper, like I for what it's worth, maybe it turned out for the best, but I was reading this story that they had cut out for me of like a kid who had a television like a week later fall on their head and die from it. And the intention was like, look at this, and almost to like, aren't you thankful to be alive? And I'm like, it felt like, maybe you've heard like churchgoers, Christians say, they're like, oh, I forgot something and I had to run back inside, and then I, got back on the road, and then there was this huge accident, and that was God saving me from the accident that I forgot something. And you have to think for a while, I was like, oh yeah, like God's looking out for me. And then it's like, you almost realize as you get older, like, what does that mean for this other person that, like, God forbid is not, is hurt or something or worse. And So I
It
think
means
like
they were bad.
yeah.
God was
That's
kind of
their
over
time.
them.
Yeah. And I think that's what like that's almost the like humor in it is like in my nearly 30s I'm thinking back on this thing that happened to me almost 20 years ago and I'm like I feel like my interpretation of that, my memory is showing me look at how lucky you are. And it's like I just can't feel lucky knowing somebody else died. Like I guess I can feel thankful to be alive, but I don't feel like I was lucky and they weren't. I just feel like that's the shit that happened. And that's where it goes into what do you think that means? It's like, who fucking knows? I mean, maybe it means that I'd write a song about it one day, and maybe that would, I don't know. That maybe even is too egotistical to say. You know, it's like, I can't say for sure, but it's weird, and it's wrong, and it feels unfair, and...
Yeah, I think it's important to note for anyone under the age of like 24 who has never seen the kind of TV that you're talking about.
Yeah.
This is not some flat screen, 4-pound, mounted to the wall.
It's like plastic everywhere. Like
He
Right.
says as we look at a 4-pound mounted to the wall
this
TV.
falls on you, and you're just like, ow.
Just brush it off.
Yeah, like,
these TVs were like 150 pounds. I mean, depending how big they are.
it feels
right?
like when people are like, we have to move a piano. Like that's
Yeah.
what people used to say is like, I need help
the
moving this
CRT.
TV.
Wesley's pulled up pictures.
Oh, just
Yeah,
they're
like, it was
massive.
Like one of these.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get like 2 friends to move it from room to room.
The 2000 Sony Triniton. That's what you're looking for if you want to.
I remember that. The Triniton, 100%.
Well, the Triniton fell on Timmy Ton's face.
It's a CRT television.
And on that note,
Here's the song.
Remember the night when the TV fell on me. It scared me to death as I lied under the screen. And barely a week later you read it in the paper that someone died from the same thing. What do you think that means? If I asked you, why am I here? Couldn't tell you. It's never been clear. What do you think that means? What do you think that means? By a thread, keeping up with appearances. A feudal game in your head, I was told by my therapist. I'll wear my heart on my sleeve lately, not convinced it's good for me. 'Cause there's a hole in my chest now. What do you think that means? If I asked you, why am I here? Couldn't tell me. It's conditional fear. What do you think that means? What do you think that means? It was 2003 when the TV fell on me. Yeah, I'm still scared to death. What do you think that means? What do you think that means? you think that means? What do 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 you think?
Yeah.
And we're back.
All right.
You were not ready for that, and you're back.
Not even a little bit. No, that was I was very unready. Okay. Great song. We talked about it in the beginning, so we'll just like move to the next thing. Loved the song, by the way.
Thank you.
And in the recorded version, you did it with Abby Holiday, who was our last episode.
Friend of the show.
Yeah.
Super beautiful vocal. And
Yeah.
also I want to shout out Abby and you. The third chorus, when she goes to the higher note,
Yeah.
in like she had been, what's it like? What is that thing you need?
Yeah.
What are the words?
What do you think that means?
What do you think that means? And in the very final chorus, she's like, "What do you think?"
Yeah, she goes like
She's
way up there. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful and really cool choice. Anyway.
Thank you. I think that was all her. Like she, it was really cool. We, the quick story behind recording that song is, I was working a day job. So we moved to Nashville, in March of 2020 or April. Sorry, that's not true. We decided to in April, but June of 2020, we moved to Nashville because my wife. I'd been at a band with my wife called Edward and Jane. It was a singer-songwriter Americana duo.
Were you the Edward?
I was the Edward.
She was Jane.
Yeah, and she was Jane. Both of our middle names, and
Okay.
it was very fun. We toured the country, did the very like DIY kind of thing. Started to have some songs do well. Pandemic hits. We're locked in an apartment in Chattanooga, and she looks at me and says, "I just don't think I want to do music anymore, like professionally." Which at that point we kind of were not really working jobs. I was a worship leader at a church, but like we didn't have jobs like outside of that, and we were just trying to make that work. And I was like, "Okay, what do you want to do?" And she said, "I think I want to be a nurse." And I was like, "Okay." We had just finished our degrees, and I was like, candidly, I wish you'd figured that out when we did the first round of degrees, but hey, this is an adventure, and we're on it. What do you, like, how are you going to make it happen? What do you want to do? And she's like, I think I'm going to look up schools, and she started researching schools. The best fit was going to be South College in Nashville for, like, price and location and just, like, getting in, accepting her credits, that kind of thing.
Nashville's a good spot for medical anything.
Medical anything. And I was like, this is perfect. Feels kind of kismet. Like, it's also great for music. And so we made that decision like 3 months into our new lease and ended up breaking it, getting a friend to take over the lease for us. We get in a U-Haul. We drive here with not even a place to live. And we thought we had a place, but it was kind of falling apart. And so we like check into a hotel with our cat, unbeknownst to them, and stay with U-Haul parked outside of this like Marriott like kind of hotel and just wait till we find a place. Like for two days, we're just like Googling and touring apartments with all of our shit in the back of a U-Haul. And all that to say, moved to Nashville. She started doing nursing. I agreed to take this day job in customer service at a tech startup to support her through that and not do any music. And I was like, I'm going to take a break. I want to help you get through this. And then when like you graduate, I would really like to give it a shot, frankly, if that feels like a fair deal. And she's like, sure. So I get this job. It was awful. Like it was just really unhealthy for me. And started to climb this ladder and feel like, oh, it's awful, but I'm starting to get paid more. I'm like, maybe this is just like the end of the line for me. And then my buddy Chris, who's a touring musician, actually in the Christian world, was like, dude, we'd been talking and hanging out for a while. I was like, you should come on tour with me, like for the next 2 months.
Was it Chris Caraba from Dashboard Confessional?
No, I wish.
Chris,
cool. His name's Chris Renzemo. For anybody listening. Yeah,
we're just gonna keep guessing Chris's otherwise.
And he's a sweetheart. He's one of my best friends to date. And he said, "Man, I'd like you to quit your job. I can't pay you almost anything." And I was just like, I can't. Like, I have this commitment to my wife, and she doesn't have a job because, I mean, she's nannying a little bit, but she's in like school full time, and nursing school's tough for anybody who's been there. It's not easy, and so like it's not really something that I can just be like, all right, good luck. I'm going on tour. See you when I get back. And I said no. He came over for drinks a couple weeks later, asked me again. I said no, and my wife overheard. She was like helping make some dinner that we were all gonna have together. And she goes, "Oh, Tim, you're gonna go. You're gonna go on tour." And I was just like,
It's a good wife.
she's a great wife. She's incredible. And I was just like, we should talk about this in private. And honestly, on the inside, I was like, oh my God, really? Like you're gonna, but on the outside, I'm like holding up this, like, I feel like guilty to say that I'm going to leave you in the midst of this. I don't know how we're going to figure it out financially and all that stuff. And we don't have saving. We don't have any kind of nest egg. We have all this debt. Like there's a lot of reasons why I shouldn't go. And she said, Tim, I can't be in a marriage where like you wake up one day and you wish you had known what would have happened if you had. And I just think that is the kind of person that I'm like, this is why I am who I am, is because you are who you are and you help me see these things and vice versa. And like, so I decided to go, quit my day job like 2 days later. And they offered me a lot more money. And I was like, I almost took it. I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And then I was like, nah, I'm going. And to make basically $100.
But that feels good, though. Like you're trying to leave and they're like, please,
It
no.
did. It felt good to know, like, all right, I'm valuable here.
Yeah.
But I knew it was the wrong path. It wasn't the magnetic strip, if you will. And so I go on this tour. I learned the most I've ever learned about the music industry. Before that, to get to the whole point of this that I said was short, which is the TV song. I had a conversation with my producer, John Class, who's in town and one of the best producers I've ever met, and if not the best. And he said, Tim, you can't go on this tour without music. You just can't. And I was like, I don't have songs, dude. And I'm leaving in like 2 weeks. And he's like, you better write some songs. And I'd like to record you at next to nothing so that you can have something just to get on the road. And that's like, his rate is not nothing at this point. Like he very well could have been like, I'd like to record you if you have this much money. And I was just like, and I said, and he's also one of my just best friends. And I said, okay, I'll write some songs. And so I wrote this song called Stories from Outer Space like the next night. And I'd had a bunch of notes around that in my phone. It's from another story. And then I had written this. I'd gone home to Ohio recently, and I wrote this song called Boy from Ohio just because I was feeling so nostalgic, like driving. I don't ever do this, but I was listening to country music because that's what I was raised on up there.
Gross.
And I had windows down, and I was driving down this highway called State Route 48, right by this like gas station that I always drove by. I used to work at right next to it. And it was like, I was just crying. I was just like so like grieving, like, man, this is a whole part of my life that I'll never get back. And it was so special to me, even though I didn't see it that way in the time. And then I needed one more song because he agreed. He's like, I think he'd said 1 day of recording. But so we did both of those in 1 day. And then the night after, I was FaceTiming Abby because I was kind of acting as like her like friend manager at the time. Like I was trying to help her get like started with just like the little bit of information I knew about the industry. And I was like, hey, I've got this like song that's pretty cool. And I think I said, I have all these verses that feel like my best lyricism ever. And I don't know what to do with the chorus. And so we FaceTimed like for 4.5 hours. And we got to the point where like we had TV written. And she was living in Ohio at the time. And I said, I am going to send this to John. So I sent it to John. And he's like, Tim, this is like the most beautiful song you've ever written, I think, and we should record it. And I was like, okay, sweet. Like, when? He's like, the only day I have before you leave on tour is tomorrow. And I was like, okay, like, great. I live right down the road. I'll come. And then I was like, so I sent that to Abby. I was like, I think I want Abby to sing on this. So I'm just like, hey, what are the odds you're going to drive to Nashville tomorrow and like sing on this? And she's like, wait, really? I was like, mm-hmm. Like, I think it'd be really cool. Like, if we did this together, we wrote it together. It's special. It feels so like it impacts both of where we are. You wrote the chorus lyrics and the melody. We had sung on these like voice memos back and forth to get some of those harmonies kind of developed. And so I kid you not, and it's not a very involved song production wise, but it was like an hour and a half from like start to end of recording it. And like we get in the studio, I one take the vocals and the guitar, and then I do a couple doubles. I think I tripled my vocals on it and just like panned them for some width. And then she pops in, plays some guitar over it to do a little bit of the like extra stuff. John lives tracks some keys with her, and then she sings her harmonies, and we're like, that's TV. It's like the quickest song from start to finish, like less than 24 hours from like inception to production. And it just felt like, I remember being like, this is how music is supposed to be written. Like, it's just finding that spark and just like holding on to it all the way to like the end if you can, and not overthink. Like you don't even have enough time to hate it. Like you sometimes in the studio you're like, oh, I've listened to this part 80,000 times, and you're just like, we had an hour and a half. It's like less than a feature length film. You know, you don't even know if you know what the song goes like at this point. And so, I think the cool thing is that like kind of going back to the the magnetic strip, the God's will or the purpose of your life or whatever you want to call it, which I believe is pretty much up to you. I think it's like you are in control of your life, in my opinion, and you just have to make the decisions to the best of your ability in the context you're in to make those things happen. I feel like I went from having a job that I hated, again, this feels like a bit of a deja vu moment, and quitting it only to have all of this open up. I go on the tour. My first show is, to John's point of why I needed to have music out, the night the songs came out, Chris was like, hey, dude, you should open this room. And I was like, there's 600 people in this room, I don't even know if I know how to play these songs. Like, I haven't practiced them. He's like, you should play. So I walk out there with his acoustic guitar, and I'm like, hey, guys, I'm Timothy Edward Carpenter. I just put out a song or, an EP this week, and here it is. And I played them. I played the songs, and it was like my first show was like for a big crowd, which was really cool. And like, and then I got to do another one at the end of the tour, and it just kind of felt like, I mean, not to say I wouldn't be doing music by this point if I hadn't taken those steps, but it just everything. I don't know. I'm a very like follow your gut kind of person, and if I feel inside that like something needs to happen, there's really not much that's going to change my mind on it, outside of probably like the good of my like family. And I think that's what was stopping me from like quitting my job until she was like, you're going. And even in this situation, like last week when I was like, I think I need to quit, like, I got another day job after tour because she was still in school. She has since graduated as of a couple months ago, and now works at a hospital in town. And now we're kind of at the beginning of the second half of like our little casual arrangement of like, she's like, this is your chance now. Like, if you're going to go for it, go for it. Like, quit your job. Like, I have my job. I got to where I needed to go, and like, we'll be okay. We might still be in debt. We might not buy a house as soon as we want to. We might not have kids or ever, if not, sooner than later. But she's like, I don't want to live in a life of feeling like, what if? I just want to do what we're doing and make it work. And so it's kind of where we are.
Nice.
That's how TV happened. That's how I got back into music, and I've recorded a couple of records since, and I'm about to record another one. And
No, you did a tour recently.
I did, yeah.
And we were going to have you like either right before the tour or right after the tour, and then our schedules just got crisscrossed, and then here we are. How was the tour?
Tour was awesome. I mean, full transparency, I booked a lot of DIY tours in the Edward and Jane days, and we played high school gyms, we played abandoned Jimmy John's, we played old tattoo shops. Like, we've played the shit holes.
I want to go to an abandoned Jimmy John's so bad.
It was less than ideal. I mean, you say that until you're there. I'd rather be playing the Cult at that point.
I hear that.
And
Cult was fun.
Yeah, I imagine.
Do you know how nice it is to play to like a bunch of women dancing like snakes in the aisles?
See? Like,
it's
there's
incredible.
movement. Yeah, it sounds like church.
It's incredible. It is. And they have like pictures of UFOs in the corner that look like 30
Just
counties
like
of
church.
I
Or
think
a
if you
Costa
were just
Gavin
the
of
right
the
amount of stoned, that would be the perfect like fever dream kind of a thing. Like,
would be.
That's what I would want.
It would be.
But the tour. So all that to say, I'd done enough DIY tours that I think there was a little of an ego tied to like, I didn't want to do that again. Like, when I started this project, I was like, I'm just gonna wait till someone asks me to open, or something, because I don't. Not that I feel too good to do it, but I don't know if I have the energy to like grind at that level, for lack of a better word. Like, I'm tired of playing shitholes. And the cool thing is that I didn't play any shitholes. Like, the venues ended up being really, really special. And I think that became true partially because of a shift in perspective. But like, I had a buddy that I was telling that to, and he's a singer-songwriter in town, and he was just like, Tim, can I give you some like humble pie here? And I was just like, yeah. He's like, you are 8 months, a year and a half, whatever it is, into like this project. No one knows who you are. Your songs have not blown up. Like, you are at the level you're at, and nobody's asking you to open. So are you going to just continue to wait, or are you going to do something about it? And I was just like, I hate you. I was like, you're right. And as a very like action oriented person, I like the next day I was like, I'm booking a tour. Like I'm gonna book some shows because at the very least it helps me get out in front of people, helps me get better at what I do. It shows that I'm trying, and the only thing I really have to lose is like some time and money, and maybe energy. You know, like it's stuff that I can get back. And so I ended up booking it. Like most rooms were sold out, which was cool. And they were small, like intentionally. I had a booking agent tell me like, hey, don't ever book a room bigger than you can fill. And I think that has been some like quality advice for me. Because he's like, look, if you fill a room, even if it's 30 people, you've sold it out. You can graduate to the next room and you will continue to play sold out rooms. They will feel better. Your crowd will have a better time. You'll feel better. Like it's all going to be good. And so like, first show in Cincinnati was 30 people in a house, and it was a sweet house. It was honestly, it was a pretty spiritual night. Like it just felt like something was there in the room, like something, people were just singing along and, you know, crying and laughing, and like, it just felt special. I was like, people are just connecting. Like that's what's happening. And, you know, go to Indianapolis, the same thing, and go to Milwaukee. And I was like, I've never been to Milwaukee, but this is like, and I had low expectations for what we were going to see, but it was it was awesome. Played in this old candle bar, kind of a So-Far show-esque thing, and all of them went that way. I mean, you know, we certainly had a couple shows where there were some tech difficulties or whatever. You know, touring is hard. Our van broke down, which I've never been on a tour that the van doesn't break down. It's just it's always happening. It's just part of the like. I almost I'm like, yep, that's why I put an extra, you know, couple $100 in the old fund.
We used my buddy, the bass player in our band's car for a tour, and it broke down when we were in San Diego. Mm-hmm. It broke down, and we had to get his
and you almost just learned to like system. You're fixed. Just like, okay, well,
we had all the most like stereotypical tour things happen. We had our vehicle break down, and then I'm the singer, and I lost my voice because of sickness.
Yep.
So the first like 3 shows, it was like LA, San Diego, Phoenix. Each one got worse on my voice, and then I like bought a steamer, and I bought so many fucking things to try to help my voice.
Dude, it's like touring is so hard on your body. Like it's inevitable.
It was. And Tucson, Santa Fe, Amarillo, Texas. Or Amarillo, they corrected me. Each one got better after that, but it was like
that is kind of the swing. It's like it's like working out for the first time in a while. You're like, I'm not good at this anymore, and then you kind of get better, and it's just like, yeah, dude.
I was just, why did I get sick this week? This is unfair.
Because I think like, I mean, it's a lot. People don't understand that touring is like, it's awesome, it's great, but like you're so like you're so rhythmic in your life. I think like this is your house, this is your bed, these are, you know, the food you eat, and then like instantly you're sleeping wherever you can. You're spending way more time in a car than you should. You're like giving all of your energy at night, and then like trying to like eat whatever you can, which is generally not great food. And I think your body just goes into like, fuck you, I'm done. Like, you're gonna be sick, so we can slow down.
It was crazy. We played 6 cities, and it felt like the craziest marathon. After 3 cities, I was like, I could feel good quitting now. Actually, after 2 cities, I was like, I'd feel good if this is all this was.
Yeah.
I could go home now and be happy.
Yeah.
And then it kept going.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, I was like, that was plenty. But like, you see these bands announce tour. Like, I felt embarrassed to only say we were playing 6 cities for a tour.
Yeah.
But because you see these bands and these artists, like Abby and Jason right now are on a tour that's like 30 cities.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people announce, 30, 50 even.
But also like,
so
Jason
6
has
felt
stories of playing 4 and in the worst shows, and Abby played a tour a couple, 6 or 8 months ago. That's like same kind of thing with 6 shows, and it's like I think the secret for me is just like I've spent so much of my life looking at that like, oh, it's not real until, or it's not, if I'm not playing the Ryman, or if I'm not getting the record deal, it's like that's when it's all gonna matter. And it's like I firmly believe that if I've learned anything, if those things happen, I'm still going to have shit I deal with. I'm still going to feel less than. I know people that have sold out the Ryman, that have the record deals, that make good money on their music. And they're still human. They're still dealing with the same thing. That didn't fill the well the way I thought it would. And doesn't mean it's meaningless. It just means like, I don't think that's the purpose of, it's a fun frill. It's candy on top. It's like, that's the special stuff that you get to do that makes life interesting. I'm just trying to like change my perspective to be so much less obsessed with it, which I have been for a long time. Like very rigidly firm grip on like I have to make it or it's a hole in the head. Like I have to. And I think I'm just learning like I'm gonna make, or I have made it. Like I'm making music today in some capacity. And like this is not a tiny desk, but it's something, and it's something that I'm proud of, and it's something that I got to do. And like it's also not the reason I exist anymore. Like it's a big part of it, but it's not. I'm almost learning to like, if I didn't have this, would I, like at one point in my life, I said if I couldn't do music, I wouldn't have any reason to live, which I think is, I look at that, I'm like, I just disagree with that now. And
Yeah.
You're like, I was being a little dramatic.
oh, absolutely. Very, I mean, but it feels that way at times. People that like, I think people that are so passionate about anything, any craft, they get to that point of just like, this is the reason I'm alive. And part of that is like, I was raised in a culture of like, you have one reason for being alive, and it's this faith, and it's this thing, and it's like to go back to that. And so I think you almost learn to like translate that over to other areas of life. Like, oh, I learned how to be so singular and eternally focused early on that now I'm going to just ditch faith, but appreciate the same thing in my art. And it's like, that's maybe still not a healthy approach to like your craft. Maybe. I don't claim to have it all figured out, but I think like, I don't know, the 30 tours, I dream to do 30 tours. I also know that if I was on show 16 of 30 date tours, like I'd be like,
You're like, I wish this was a 16 show.
you'd be like, I can't wait to be home. I mean, because the grass is always greener. You're like, I can't wait to be, on my bed, sleeping, saying hi to my wife and my cats, or, whoever it is at home.
Just
And
Hank,
it's like,
not the other.
yeah, exactly. Jen,
It's just crazy. I really thought like, God, 6 is not enough.
yeah,
But after like, you're just like, it's so many.
it is.
It is so many shows
Yeah.
to play in a row.
Yeah.
And it's so,
I mean, touring is crazy. It's
It
the same
is.
thing as tattooing. It's magic. It's like, how do you people like? I remember I had that moment of like, you can just book a tour. Like you just can. You can just email
Yeah.
people and
Yeah.
show up in the city, and that's touring. Like you
Yeah.
don't have to have an agent. Like I was probably 21, and I was like asking people like, how do you tour? And he's like, you get in a van and you go to the place you say you're gonna go to, and you play the song. And if anybody shows up, you're lucky.
yeah.
I'm like, that's it? He's like, basically. And that's kind of been the skeleton for my
Man.
tour planning is like, where do I want to go? Where does data say people might listen to me? Where do I know I have a friend I can sleep in their couch? Okay, I'm going there, like, and that's what it
Yeah.
was. That's what
Yeah.
the last, like, February was eight shows over 10 days, learning how to play my songs, basically.
And it's a lot of fun. And it does line up with tattooing so well. And I think I thought about this on tour. It was really similar, where you're like, this is a thing I kind of thought I would never get to do. And then I finally did it,
Yeah.
and it was a fucking lot.
Yeah.
And now that
Oh,
I've
yes.
done it, I really want to do it a lot more.
Yeah, and you're better at it, and you learn. It's like, how many things in your life could you just do? Probably anything. I mean, it's amazing to think about the accessibility of just like, everything is hard. Everything is hard. Like, I drove so many miles to get my tattoo license. So many. Like, over 2 hours a day, 3 times a week. It's just like, to the point of like,
In
I don't-
Clarksville, right?
yeah.
And are you working out of Clarksville now?
No, I just got a job in East Nashville.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I like finally like.
Because I didn't want to drive to Clarksville to get a tattoo.
No, nobody does. I mean, like, my book's filled up like that all of a sudden because people are like, oh, I don't have to go 2 hours to do this on top of paying stupid amounts of money for a tattoo. Not that I charge a bunch, but tattoos aren't cheap, so it's just what it is,
Right.
Yeah, what tattoo shop? Says Wesley.
Oh, it's called Electric Hand off of Gallatin.
Wesley, text the swag dads and ask them if we can all do a group tattoo at Electric Hands.
Only if it's swag dads.
tattoo.
That's what I'm tattooing.
Must
So
be
we-
right here. Swag dads.
We have, me and Wesley are a part of a text group of all of our old friends from San Diego. We all grew up in church together. Everybody has now gone to different places of the world.
Sure.
They believe all sorts of different things. We're all different. However, we are a part of a text group that sends memes to each other. And we're
The
doing it.
cringiest name.
Yeah, it is so cringy. I
Yeah,
think
but it's kind of
I think,
appropriate. Like,
I think Raphael made it up.
That makes sense.
Raphael has
I
some
love
cringe
Raphael.
What a
energy.
strong name.
We love
Raphael,
him. It is.
he's the best.
If Raphael made me in a text group and named it anything, I wouldn't question it, not even a little bit. I'd be like, yeah, but Raphael said.
Yeah, Raphael has some cringe energy, but also
True.
he is.
but
he's
he
a-
like leans into it.
Shout
he's a
out
good man.
Raphael.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
But
And so, in either case, we're doing a summit. We're bringing all the swag dads to Nashville at the end of the month, and me and Wesley are talking about trying to get everybody to do a tattoo.
Dude,
And I think we should do it at your place.
that would be so cool. Let's do it.
Yeah, we were talking earlier today about doing a tattoo, and then we met you, so it has to
Wow.
be you, right?
I think
It's
that's
fate.
as
That's
fate
the
as it
magnet.
gets.
The
It
magnetic
is.
strip.
See, honestly, okay.
That's the episode name.
I
now,
hate to
magnetic
plug
strip.
something. I'm not a big plug this, and I think this book has gotten a
to
little
be
bit
fair,
of
we're
like,
going to ask you to plug things in a few minutes here.
but Creative Act by Rick Rubin. It's a book that just came
Oh,
out.
I just started listening to it on Audible.
Yes, and it has been pretty healing for me because I think it's this guy who clearly is, critically renowned for his productions, and yet he basically claims like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm just gonna own it. I don't know, but I know that these are the things I've learned, and this is how it's tough to be an artist. But at the core, he calls it the source, capital S. But like, he says there's something that feeds us this stuff. I don't claim to know what it is, but if you can open yourself to it, you might have a better life. And I think maybe this is the source saying, "Go get tattooed by Tim."
Tattoos by Tim.
Yeah.
Maybe
TM.
Tattoos by
Who's
Tim
to
should
say?
be the name of the episode.
Oh, Tattoos by Tim is
Oh.
pretty good.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
I like Tattoos by Tim.
I like
I like
tattoos
I like alliteration.
Tattoons by Tim.
But we gotta get out of here pretty shortly.
Yes.
But before we do have a very important question to ask you.
Oh no, I didn't once press the Jaws button.
How did that? How does that
I
not
don't
happen?
know.
I know.
Because nobody presses the
No one
button
ever
but me.
does.
Well, can I admit something? I've never seen Jaws.
Okay.
weird.
Okay.
Jaws
What?
is a great movie.
I'm sure it is. I'm just like, I don't know
Well-
why. It just like didn't.
No, it's great. It holds up. It holds
So,
up, I think.
Ashley and I went earlier last March. We went and saw the 3D re-release of Jaws.
Was it good?
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, it's the same movie in 3D.
But
Yeah.
do you guys like 3D movies?
I do.
It's a lot.
I do like it,
It's a big commitment.
but it has to be right. Like, we just went and saw Avatar. I refuse to watch anything
Ooh,
that's
I
not
haven't
3D.
seen Mhm.
I understand that it's a gimmick, Wesley. And I understand that it's cheesy and it is cheap and it is just a
What, 3D?
fucking, yeah.
I'm a big like. What's
is
the
it
the
cheap?
IMAX?
It's a
like
technological
the, or the,
wonder.
What's bigger than IMAX? Isn't there another
There's a
one?
new one now. I don't know.
Like an
what it is.
Omnimax or something.
Right.
yeah.
Supermax. I don't know.
Supermax.
But
That's a prison, I think.
no, but 3D is fun. And have you gone to a theater of 4DX?
Oh, God.
Wait, I think so. But
'Cause
you're not
that
wearing
shit is-
glasses, are you?
40X is the
No.
greatest thing on the
Yeah,
planet.
that's always the thing for me. Now I wear glasses, so it's
So-
kind of comical. But for a while, it's like I don't want to put on something
Yeah.
to
I
do
always
something
wear
I can do
contacts.
without this thing.
But 4DX movies take it to another level.
But you're not wearing glasses.
No, you are. You are.
You
so you
are.
got glasses.
Oh,
so you
you
got 3D.
It's 3D.
What's
Also-
the X and the 4?
The chair moves.
Oh, so this is like a theme.
Oh,
And
it
it's
moves like a
a
theme
lot.
park. Yeah.
And
Up and down,
there's a
back
little,
and
forth.
there's like water
Yeah, see, you got a
spritzers
tangible
and air,
element. That's
and
the
there's
4.
a little thing
It's the
that
fourth
fucking
dimension.
whips
Yes.
you in the back of the leg.
What?
Dude, that was like, what the fuck? It
shoots-
over
it
and
shoots
over in the back
air
of the
at you.
leg.
And it shoots water in your face, and there's strobe lights in the theater, and there's fog in the theater.
It's a whole thing.
I think
And
I've done
there's
something like that at
fans.
Disney World before. Like,
Yes.
yeah, it's
yeah.
like that, but a
Now
full
they have that at-
feature-length movie.
They have that at Opry,
We went and saw the last
What?
Spider-Man.
40X.
Oh,
And
Was it
at the
No
end,
Way
though,
Home? Yeah.
no,
Okay.
And at
okay.
the end, though, I'm like, I feel like a little sore. Like,
Yeah.
like this movie kicked the shit out of me. I don't want to go see an action movie
and
like
I
this
believe
anymore.
you and me were on team This Is Fucking Great, and Travis.
Yeah, my cousin.
I don't know
again-
This
if
is
that
a
would have
gimmick.
been me or not. I think I might have been with Travis.
The thing is, it's great as a
Like-
gimmick,
Yes.
but it's not going to be long lasting. Like,
Yes.
I don't. What makes it a gimmick? It's fun. It's
yeah,
fun.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
it was fun, and I do want to see Cocaine Bear in 40X.
yeah,
let's
see,
do it
that could be worth
tonight.
I
yeah.
work tomorrow.
Whatever.
Yeah, but YOLO.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the kids are
I have to use
Listen
my
to Tim.
brain a
Nobody
lot at
says
work.
YOLO
All I do
anymore.
is think for a living now. So
Just
Yeah,
use ChatGPT. I read a thing last night that ChatGPT predicts that
The end of
80%
humanity
of
is nigh.
80% of careers will be impacted by ChatGPT. Now,
What a dick.
ChatGPT was the one who predicted it. But
I mean, I could see, like, even for mine, it's like, if you want to write a song, you could do it.
Right.
If you want to, hey, somebody's like, I don't know what I want to get
My
tattooed.
lead at work subscribed to it.
Can you do that? Can you ask this thing, like, what am I getting tattooed today? And it just tells you.
You know,
See?
among the careers most impacted was programming.
Yeah, it is.
Which is interesting.
But, which I
Okay.
but it's not really.
Because it can write code.
That's what
it
ChatGPT
can,
said.
but the problem is it doesn't write. It can write good code, but it needs to be human reviewed.
It doesn't have a heart.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think the heart's the problem. It's just it's
What is
eventually it'll get
GBT?
there.
What does that stand for? Anybody know?
don't know.
Global positioning telecommunications.
I think it's general
Just made that
purpose
up.
technology.
Sure,
if I had
that
to
makes
guess.
more sense.
Whoa. I've actually never seen. Is it GPT or GPBT?
AI will
Yeah.
always need someone to tell
Well,
them
it might be another AI that tells it what to do though.
Oh.
Eventually,
Good
AI
point.
is scary, but it's also
Kind of cool.
it is cool.
I love it. But no, so if you write code, which you don't, but if you did, or maybe you do, I don't know.
I write songs.
Yeah. When you run into problems, you go to Google.
Yeah.
And Google almost always takes you to a website called Stack Overflow. That's like the coding website.
Like a
It's
forum.
like a forum. Yeah.
Okay.
Today, my boss at work, he just goes, I don't think I have to use Stack Overflow anymore. It's like I subscribe, like I peep at the paid version or whatever of ChatGPT, and he's like, if I have a question, I just ask it. It's so much better.
And it knows.
It knows. It's like it knows all the
And
answers.
it's right.
And it's
Because it has all of everything in it.
everything. Yeah.
The
And I was like,
internet.
that's wild.
Do you think
Chat-generative
churches will be
pre-trained
formed
transformer.
around this? Like, do you think there will be a cult that's like,
please.
like we will ask the God of like
The cult
and
of
these kids will be
ChatGPT.
like traumatically impacted by like, did you pray to GPT? And they're like, I did, and GPT failed me.
100%.
Wow.
But anyways, we have a very important question
Oh, yeah.
to
Okay.
ask.
I forgot. We were in the middle of that. I totally forgot.
Yeah. Sorry, I derailed us.
Well, okay.
Because you're like, I've never seen Jaws, and we were like, we have to tell you
we
about
gotta talk
3D.
about that. But the important thing about this question
Yeah.
is the answer must not come from here.
And for the audio-only listeners, he's pointing to his head.
It must come.
from entrance, from the soul.
The heart.
Or the
soul.
soul. I
Wow.
like the
Yeah,
soul.
The
Okay.
soul.
I like the soul.
The innermost part of your being, whatever you believe that is, on your magnetic strip.
So here's the thing. If
So
you had to
it's
choose,
like I have to just think of something, right?
Yes. No. You have
No,
to
no, no, no,
heart
no.
from
Okay.
something.
so
Don't
what
think.
that means in practice
Yeah.
is we didn't answer quickly,
Immediately.
immediately. I don't want you thinking about it. I want you
Feel it.
feeling it.
Feeling
Yeah.
about it.
I want the
Turn
inner
this off
truth.
for a little bit. Okay,
Exactly.
Okay.
What is your deepest, like if you were in therapy and you were getting to the heart
Wait,
of
is this the question?
the matter.
Oh, okay.
If you had to choose,
And you do.
and you do.
Are you just going to ask the question? Are you going to do it?
I was gonna ask the question.
No.
So much
Explain it.
suspense. I am like up here right now.
I start getting heart palpitations.
Yeah,
a
I'm
little
like-
bit, start getting a little bit.
I'm like, whew, okay, you only got this one shot here.
Yeah.
Do
No.
not miss your chance to
blow.
blow.
This opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
You got to lose yourself.
Wait, did I answer right? Is that
Wow.
That was it. To the music, the moment you own it, you never let it go. I remember 8th grade seeing that movie,
Yeah, dude.
and it
8th
changed
Mile in 8th grade?
everybody's life.
If you had to choose,
And you do.
and you do, what would you say is your favorite kind of turtle?
Ninja?
Oh!
That was one of the quickest answers we've ever had.
And we've only gotten Ninja one other time ever.
Wow. Who was it? Can I ask?
Benjamin McAnally from Lines in the Sky.
Wow, is he,
Oh,
is he my
wow.
twin soul then?
He might be.
Sorry,
He's
I
in
didn't.
a prog rock band, or was. I don't know.
And
If
he
I
plays
Couldn't help
bass.
it. I did. This was off. It was just. It was the Jameson speaking.
dude.
If anything.
That
was
was
perfect.
That was one of the Wesley. Was that one of the quickest answers we've ever had?
By
That was
far.
one of the
You
quickest
said I
answers.
couldn't think.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
honestly, I
Most people
overthink
obeyed.
everything.
Most people don't
Wow.
trust us. They just think about it for a second.
And that's what raising in the church gets you. You obeyed.
All right. Can I have an allowance?
Oh,
Wow.
man.
Yeah.
Well,
But
before
only if you tithe 10%. Quite possibly the fastest. As
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind
impressive.
like a slow mo, like how fast on the clock, like
We're
like
gonna have to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we're
need
gonna have
to-
to look at that.
like
we
it's
need to roll the milliseconds every time we
You know,
ask the
I
question.
I think we said it and then you answered immediately.
I heard favorite kind of turtle, and I
And
couldn't
just
think of any
came.
turtle except for the boys.
The boys.
The boys. Okay. Follow up question. Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Oh, that's
Probably. Okay.
There's
I
only
always
one right
like the way
answer.
that like Donatello sounded.
That's Donatello. We're Donatello.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
both of us
gotta
are
be it. I just
Donatello.
feel like
I knew
it
that
sounds
about
like
you.
a cool name to have. He had a cool vibe,
Coolest weapon.
coolest weapon. Yeah, I'm a Donatello.
He was really smart.
I'd say like
was his thing.
Michelangelo was like a second for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's the stoner turtle, right?
Yeah, and which like that's like maybe if I could like combine them a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
It's
That's the
I
move.
might be the rat guy though for
Splinter.
Splinter. Thank you. Sorry, I only saw a few episodes.
It's like
it's actually amazing that I even know any of their names. I'm not that invested.
you grow up having the like intelligence and logic of Donatello, and then like you grow up and you're like, you know what though? But Michelangelo had it right.
Yeah. Like if you're gonna model your life after one key figure in all of history, you have like Jesus, Gandhi, Michelangelo. The turtle, not the artist.
Not the artist. Yeah.
Yeah, he's down here
He's just
somewhere.
weird shit. I don't know, but
But Donatello tells me you were like a smart kid growing up.
yeah.
I was in the gifted reading class for 1 year.
See?
That's nice.
I knew this guy was.
But
in
then
the
I was
gifted reading class for 1
homeschooled
year.
because I was nervous. Said I don't know if these kids are. I don't know what to do here.
See, I never did homeschool. I don't know what that's about.
I think homeschool is humanity's secret weapon.
What do you mean?
Like if you want to be great in your life, I think you need to be homeschooled.
Really?
I think
Almost
the
opposite.
opposite. The exact opposite is what I so strongly believe.
Do you want to know how many people in the group of people that you have interviewed that I also know were homeschooled? It's like a
lot.
large majority.
Really?
Yeah. No,
Who?
it makes sense.
At the holidays, for one.
Okay.
Every one of those kids is like pretty great at everything they
No,
do.
it makes sense. I'm not anti-homeschool.
Yeah.
I just feel
My
like
producer, John Class, homeschooled.
9 out of
We need
10.
to have John on.
I actually think both the guys that played with me in the band, I might be misquoting this, but
Homeschooled?
I think they were both homeschooled. At least one of them was.
Now, John has produced a lot of you guys, right?
Yes.
Who has he produced?
Out of our friend group, he's done a song for Michigander with the like Christmas tune that featured Gabby and Abby and Seth and everybody.
Something in December, right?
Yep.
Snow in
Snow in Montana.
Snow in Montana.
Yep. And then he's done all of my stuff except for Panic Attack and a Michaels. He mixed that but didn't produce it. And he did all of Abby's stuff to date. Co-produced 1 or 2 of those with a guy named Tyler. And
Does he do Seth's stuff?
no, that's Michael, also incredible producer in
Okay.
town. Michael Guillo, he's in town he does like a band called Sylvie, which y'all should check her out. And he does all of Seth's stuff, and he's done a little bit with like other friends in our group. I'm trying to think if John's done anybody else that's like the Wildlife. He did all of their stuff early on, if you know them, pop band. I don't know if he's still doing stuff with them, but for a long time was doing a lot of their stuff. And just like he's the best dude, makes the best damn tiki drink you'll ever have in your life, wears the goofiest shirts you've ever seen in your life, has
John.
the sweetest personality. Yeah, John.
As a producer
He has a shirt
myself-
that says, it's like coexist. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says
Uh-huh.
Comcast. It's with all of the like coexist
hate
characters.
Comcast.
Yeah, they're the devil.
Yeah.
As a producer myself, I think most producers suck, but both John Class and Michael, what's his last name?
Gio.
Gio. Both of their work, I'm like, is so fucking good.
They're like, I'm actually,
So good.
I'm trying to
Tremendous
I'm
work.
trying to like universe collide this, like
Mm-hmm.
multiverse this, and like do a song with my friend
John and
McKenna and John and Michael produce it together potentially.
Mhm.
That's we'll see. That's a little teaser. See if that actually happens, but that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they have to do it because I said it in
Nice.
podcast
Yes.
form.
Said
We're
it on
gonna-
the internet. Now it's true.
I'm going to reach out to them tonight. We need to have them on the show.
Honestly,
because like everybody
that
we've ever
would be-
interviewed has been produced by them, and they're so good.
If you had both of them on the show with a couple cocktails, you would never stop like remembering how that was the best night.
And that's
of your
what we're
life.
here for.
Should we have both at the same time or separately?
I think together.
Okay.
I think it should be a
You know
producer.
what we need to do?
Huh.
We need to do
Night.
a Music Row showcase.
What do you mean?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Where we have a bunch, where we like set up a show and have a bunch
show
of
with
artists
all
come
the
play.
people.
or perhaps like a party at least.
Yeah,
Like,
at least.
let's all like get to, let's meet
Yeah.
all the people that did this.
Maybe we could do it at the Well.
Oh.
Did you know the Well?
They don't serve
It's a
liquor
coffee
there.
shop right
yeah,
here.
Yeah.
They don't serve liquor, but
Oh.
they have a nice stage.
Okay. Yeah, we should do that. I mean, get like the get together. We should do like a quarterly, like show where we have like guests who want to play. Yeah. Wesley's giving me a thumbs up. He loves it.
I go to the Well every day, so I know everyone who works there. So we need to be like.
So
can
for our
we do
listeners, if you're trying
Two
to meet
people who work there
either
been
of
on the
the
show.
hosts tonight, you can go to the Well.
just go to the Well,
and at least
you will see
50-50
me.
chance you'll see somebody.
Yeah, I will be at the Well every day, forever.
It's Ryan's actual home.
Literally.
But before we close out, though, where can the people find you? Your home address,
Right
social
now, I'm
security number.
here with you guys. No, less literally. I'm on the internet, Spotify, Instagram, Apple Music.
All under your name,
Timothy Edward Carpenter.
the
Yeah.
full name.
Yep, the full
So
thing.
if you see a Timothy Carpenter,
Fuck that guy.
yeah,
that
that guy. is the
Timothy Edward
worst.
Carpenter,
Yeah, that's the best way to. You can Google it. A lot of that stuff comes up
on all the things. Spotify, Facebook.
Yeah. Actually,
Snapchat.
funny enough, I don't think I have an artist page on Facebook because by
That's
the time
okay.
I started this, it didn't seem to matter anymore.
Right.
And I'm almost resolved at this point not to do it. If I
That's
ever
fair.
got like a label or a manager and they wanted to make me one, I'd be like, go for it. But I don't really want to manage a Facebook.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I have all of our stuff automatically go to our Facebook artist page.
That's what I need to
from
do.
Instagram.
I just felt like I had like 6 followers on the first one I made for this like Timothy Edward Carpenter stuff, and I was just like, I don't really want to grow. Well, I do want to grow. I don't feel compelled to focus too much energy on this right now. So,
On Facebook.
but Instagram's big, yeah. Also, for the tattoo stuff, it's at Tattoos by Timothy. If you want to check out the old tattoo page,
Tattoo.
I'm gonna
by
follow
Timothy.
that right now.
yeah, give it a little look see. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm about to release some new songs later this year. I've got a single coming out in late April, early May, and then another song potentially coming out in August.
You got any shows coming up for the local people? I know you just got back from
I've
the
got
thing.
I'm playing New Faces Night at the basement, the OG basement on
Nice.
April 18th, Tax Day. So
Tax Day.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta remember to do that.
traditionally the 15th, but this year it's the 18th. I don't
Wow,
know why,
really?
because the government does what it
Co-
does.
They
and-
do
And
what they want.
COVID.
yeah, we didn't talk about politics, but that was my moment of
Nice.
government. That
That's right.
we- yeah,
Next
we-
time you're back on,
yeah.
only politics.
Yeah. It's probably about the same
Probably
answer as
not,
faith.
yeah.
I'm like, I don't believe in most of it, and I don't like a lot of it, and I just want
You're
everybody
right.
to be happy.
Next time we're exclusively talking about conspiracy theories. We didn't even
Oh.
touch that shit today.
we kind of did in a way.
But anyways, guys, as always, thanks everyone for coming to hang out. You guys are awesome, and we will see y'all next time.
Loitering in a Michael's cause you recommended. Try to reframe my perspective, but I still don't get it. 120 an hour just to end up stranded beneath acrylic sunflowers. I'm trying not to panic. Personality test says I've got something to prove. Took a look at the facts, guess it's my signature move. How reductive is that? Yeah, here we go again. My overthinking's intact, it's clinical, I'm convinced. I just wanna feel better. Oh God, I wanna feel better. Why'd you start up the band?